Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in Allen, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as following me on Instagram at GrowFold. That is the fastest and quickest way to get in touch with me directly if you have any questions about plants or want to collaborate with me on any future plant projects. I do have one that I wanted to share with y'all. We have this plant podcast that is going to be debuting on Monday, December 9th at 7:30 on my channel called The Cultivation Corner. Hopefully you will all tune into it. And I do have a little snippet, a little preview of what I've been working along with Janae Simone and Steven at I Live Plants. Super excited to share that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But it is a beautiful morning where I am just going out to this Home Depot to see if we can find the Doc Block Anthurium by Proven Winners. We'll see, but for now, check this out.
Looking at social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, about what trending plants are there. So like say there's like a new plant release, all of a sudden you already have all of these plants.
Exactly.
But then you want to go ahead and add that variegated monstera or just some new release.
I'm much better with it now.
He has allocations. He's got an allocation.
He has the magic touch then.
Either the magic touch or
he has a
something.
poly.
He has a poly, an allocation poly. No spider mites. He doesn't
killed
really
that so
water it,
fast.
and it's in like a overlooked plants. They also have another common trait. They're cost effective. The price is right for the majority of us, unless you're one of those folks that can, drop $1,000 on a variegated whatever
Which
Which I
plant.
could do that. A lot of the plants that we think are specialty plants here are technically not.
And I am just super excited to finally get that plant podcast that we've been working very hard to debut again on December 9th, that Monday, 7:30 on this YouTube channel. We do have a separate official YouTube channel for the Cultivation Corner. Please make sure you are subscribed to that YouTube channel because the rest of the series will have the episodes there. But as you can see right here, I did want to see some more of these Proven Winner Leaf Joy plants. Philodendron Florida Bronze. So this one is, I believe, for $29.98, somewhere around that range, maybe even $25. Or if it's on sale. But anyways, what I'm really just excited about is the fact that Philodendron Florida Bronze is actually at a big box store. And I have to say that Proven Winners Leaf Joy series is really packing in the heat, especially the week of the Black Friday. Thanksgiving is this week, and it's just really exciting to see all of these new plants hit Home Depot. I know that everybody has been looking for that Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. I can pretty much say that any of the Home Depots out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially in North Dallas, it's going to be very challenging to find any more of those Doc Block Anthurium Michelles. Who knows, I might be able to find one at this location, but I will say a lot of the hype was really on that Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. But let's not forget about all the other new plants that Proven Winners has released for the general public. You can see right here, this is a calathea of some sort. I think a Calathea rospicta. And then you can see that there is another calathea right here. This is the Thoreau. Now, this is actually a calathea that has already been released by Proven Winners, but they have a fresh batch of plants that I've sent to a lot of the Home Depots at least in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I'm based at. I remember when I found the Doc Block Anthurium Michelle, there was even some Monstera Thai constellations, and that's just the thing about Proven Winners Leaf Joy. I know that we talk a lot about Costa Farms trending tropical plants just because that's more readily available at Lowe's, and that is one of the big box stores I typically go plant shopping for. But ever since I started looking for that Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners at Home Depot, I've noticed that Proven Winners has actually brought in a lot of plants that Costa Farms hasn't released. For instance, Dieffenbachia marcia. So this is actually a really nice neon colored Dieffenbachia. Now again, with Dieffenbachia, they do need quite a bit of light and they prefer more humidity for them to really stay happy. Unfortunately, the one I had, the Dieffenbachia Sublime, I ended up having to part ways with it just because it kept on dropping its leaves. It got super leggy, and it's one of those situations where if a plant doesn't really give you the joy that it you expect it to, it's okay to go ahead and part ways with that plant. Either having somebody else either rescue the plant, adopt the plant, or it might be a little bit controversial, but even composting the plant. I always say that plants should not add stress to your life. If anything, plants should enhance your mindfulness. Your stress level should be reduced because of plants. So don't allow plants to stress you out. It's easier said than done, because I know a lot of us want plants to grow and thrive in our care, but sometimes our environments may not necessarily be conducive to the plant being able to grow as well as we expect it to. Now this Calathea leopardina, beautiful plant as well. Calatheas, I'm telling you, they are the biggest heartbreakers. They are the biggest temptress. They're so tempting to purchase because look at how perfect the leaves are. Unfortunately, at least in my experience, I speak from my experience, they're just very challenging to take care of long term. So I always just say, hold off from Calatheas if you don't have the right conditions, such as high humidity and frequent watering. Now this one is a Geodanthus Popii. I can't even really pronounce it, but anyways, this is a geo plant, and I know that I had a Geonanthus plant, just a black version by Costa Farms, but this one is an interesting one as well. Here's the thing about Geonanthus plants. They need to be frequently watered. I am an underwaterer. I am somebody who doesn't really water my plants as often as they need to, but for some reason, I am just really wanting to buy this plant. It has beautiful texture. It's very unique. What I think I'm gonna do though is if I buy this plant today, this Geonanthus plant, I will probably put it in semi-hydroponic substrate, lechuza pond. And I did want to say thank you to my friend Vic and Vines in Dallas, Texas, for getting me another lechuza pond bag, because right now Amazon is actually out of stock of lechuza pond, and rumor has it lechuza pond may not be available until the early next year. So I am really just desperate looking for lechuza pond. I just feel like lechuza pond is going to be more of a solution for any of us who struggles with certain plants growing in just a soil substrate. But as you can see right here, again, Proven Winners Leaf Joy has these beautiful Hoyas. This is a really sun-stressed Hoya, or maybe another variety that really pushes out a lot of pink. The thing about Hoyas is I prefer Hoyas because they're very forgiving plants. They can thrive with a little bit more neglect. You don't necessarily have to water them as often, and they have really beautiful colors, especially if you sun stress them. Calathea ornata, this is one of those classic Calatheas that I would love to grow long term, but again, Calatheas, at least in my care, I've given them so many chances to try to grow in my my environment. For some reason they're just not able to grow. But look at how beautiful this one is. I really love the pink lining of this plant. It almost reminds me of some of these Aglaonemas. As far as an Aglaonema versus a Calathea, I would say anybody watching this video, choose the Aglaonema versus the beautiful Alocasia. Well, Alocasia just because they're a little bit more challenging as well, but especially Calatheas versus Aglaonemas. You already know I love Aglaonemas. If you've been watching my videos for the longest time, I will talk about Aglaonemas even if there isn't an Aglaonema in the video at the very moment, because one of my biggest goals is to really influence you into looking at more Aglaonemas and really growing them into your collections. I always say plant trends tend to become trends because there is a certain influencer or there is a lot of dialogue around a specific plant. So yes, I will be talking about Aglaonemas. But let's go ahead and talk about the Proven Winner plants that we have here. It looks like they have some more Adrift Hoyas right here. You can see this one is actually sun stressed because the edges of the leaves, the borders of the leaves have a nice deep red border around it. That's what happens with certain Hoyas. If you provide them with quite a bit of light, they will actually give you a little bit more color. Now, this one is an Alocasia letribiana. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, this is another Alocasia I've seen in the past. I love the fact that, Proven Winners Leaf Joy series is producing more of these Alocasias. I love the fact that Proven Winners has actually introduced a lot of different types of Alocasias into the market. I know this year we've seen quite a bit of jewel Alocasias. We've seen the Black Velvet, we've seen the Silver Dragon. So a lot of these big box stores have these plants. Now, these ones are for $29.98. Again, this one is a really healthy looking Alocasia. And what's really good is if you buy plants from a big box store as soon as they've been shipped from, say, the nursery like Proven Winners, I would go ahead and buy it, just because that's when the plant is the most healthy, or I feel like that is when the plant has the least damage, whether it's just sat in a big box store or it's been sitting there for a while and it's a little bit stressed. Especially with Alocasias, I would say now is the time to buy these plants from Proven Winners. I am a huge fan of Proven Winners just because they do have quite a bit of a selection of plants, and I love the fact that they made more plants readily available for the everyday plant lover like myself. I don't necessarily have the biggest funds to invest in some of these rare and uncommon plants, but the fact that Proven Winners, just like Costa Farms, has been able to make these plants a little bit more accessible to the general public is really exciting. Now, over here we have a Philodendron Silver Sword, and I love the Philodendron Silver Sword because of just the color of it. It's got a silver foliage, and the thing about it is this particular Philodendron definitely wants to climb, and it's really nice to see that Proven Winners is now providing a pole for the plant to climb. Specifically for the Philodendron Silver Sword, that is one of those plants that you see the most beauty or the full potential of the plant when you allow it to climb on a pole, because the leaves get larger, they kind of change shape in the leaves, and it just mimics the natural growth pattern of the actual plant. Here is an Alocasia cucullata. Now, I actually found some Alocasia cucullatas that were sport variegated at this particular Home Depot a little while back. And, that's the thing about, these plants that get released in a big box store. Sometimes you can get lucky and find some sport variegation. Now, sport variegation isn't necessarily a variegation that's going to be stable, but it's always interesting to see variegation. I always feel like people go after variegated plants in general. So if you see like a little speckle of white, we get excited about it. I always also say that plants that aren't necessarily variegated can also bring us a lot of joy. Honestly, they're probably less stressful than, say, a variegated plant, because the plant has a little bit more vigor. It has more green, which makes the plant it has more chlorophyll, and it can photosynthesize, and it's just a healthier plant. Now, as far as this Hoya carnosa though, beautiful pink coloration. I'm actually tempted to purchase it and to see if it will actually hold its pink colors. Hoya carnosas in general, they're more of the common plant to find. And then check out the Nanthe plant. This one is the Never Never plant. I actually got one of these. It was actually a Live Trends plant that I bought at not Costa Farms, Lowe's a little while back, that I got for 50% off. And surprisingly, for the Nanthe, this plant is actually not a challenging plant. It's more forgiving than even a Stromanthe Triostar. I actually have one that's growing very well for me. It doesn't even get nearly as much light. I will say that it does need frequent watering, and I'm surprised that it's been forgiving for me in the sense that I don't necessarily water it as often, but I love the fact that Proven Winners has actually gotten this plant as well. It's not a plant that hasn't been released. I've seen this plant before years back when I first started collecting houseplants seriously, but I'm just glad that Proven Winners has this released again. Now, as far as the coloration of this particular plant, I'm not 100% sure if it's really influenced by the amount of light you give it, whether you're going to get more neon colors, or it's one of those plants that it just has the color because it's pretty random. Alocasia Stingray. This is for $29.98, again by Proven Winners Leaf Joy series. Love this alocasia because that alocasia just has a really nice structure about it. You can see the leaf shade. It really does look like a stingray. And this is an alocasia that can get really, really large. I actually have one that's growing underneath one of my Japanese maples. I really need to bring it inside because temperatures in North Dallas have started to really dip low. So hopefully I will be able to kind of overwinter some of my plants. But this alocasia stingray, that is one that I definitely want to grow in semi-hydroponics. I really think that alocasias do best in leca, but sometimes, not leca, I'm sorry, lechuzapon, but I don't really have a big, I guess supply of lechuzapon. And then you can see right over here, we've got a Monstera deliciosa. That is a classic plant. It is one of those plants that we definitely need to make sure we keep in our plant collections. And then we have a Ficus Audrey right here. Ficus Audrey, I actually have one that I've had for about a year and a half. It is about 5 feet tall. It's growing outside in one of my planters, but what I'm afraid of is when winter comes, I'm not really gonna have any space for it, but you can see right here, I'm just so excited. I found a Philodendron Florida Bronze. So I now have the Philodendron Florida Beauty, which is the variegated one. I've got the Philodendron Florida Green, which is the green version, and now I will be buying a Philodendron Florida Bronze. Obviously, these are juvenile leaves. This is going to be a plant that you need to actually put up on a pole, some type of support for it to climb up, and then the leaves will actually mature. I love that deep color. Now, I feel like, or I've read somewhere that the Philodendron Florida Bronze is actually a cross or a hybrid between two plants, maybe a black cardinal and something else. I mean, somebody in the comment section, please leave it in the comment section if you know. And then we also have a new release. This is a Philodendron Fuzzy Petiole. Love this plant as well, and this is another plant that definitely gets better as it starts to climb up a pole. Now, I've seen this with really large leaves, and that's the thing about philodendrons. Philodendrons, in my opinion, for the most part, they are more of an easy care plant. There are some more philodendrons that might need a little bit more humidity, but in general, philodendrons are actually not a challenging genus of plants to take care of, except for maybe the more velvety textured philodendrons that are a little bit more susceptible to spider mites and need a little bit more humidity to really do well. But as you can see right here, super excited that Proven Winners has actually produced more plants, have sent us more plants like this right here, Hoya Quintiana, or what you call the variegated Wyetii. These are only for $5.98. I repeat, $5.98 for Hoyas. Now, sometimes Hoyas can be a little bit pricey, but whenever you have a major nursery like Proven Winners producing masses of these plants, it just makes the price point a little bit more within the range of what we are willing to spend. I always tell people, if you're going to buy a plant, the plant's price has to feel right. The price has to be right. And whether you're willing to spend just a little bit more on certain plants, that really varies from person to person. For me, it's really whether I'm really attached to that particular plant. So I'll use this as an example. If I find an Aglaonema that I'm trying to import from Indonesia, I might spend $100 on that really uncommon Aglaonema. Would that be something I would spend on a normal basis, say if I find it at a big box store? No, it's really a case-by-case basis. But as far as like plant shopping at a big box store, the great thing about it is you're not gonna see insane prices for these plants. So I feel like that is such a good, thing about big box store plant shopping. The fact that Proven Winners again has released a bunch of these new plants, and you can see that they have shelves that they actually ship out to the big box store. They've got trays, and then I did want to show you this beautiful Calathea. Again, it's one of those things where Calatheas, when you see them in a big box store and they're super fresh, their leaves are gorgeous, it makes you want to pick up the plant. They have their own way of marketing themselves, but lo and behold, give it about 2 to 3 weeks. If you don't provide them the care that they need, they're just not going to do well. This is another Dieffenbachia Seguin. This is also known as, I think, the Dieffenbachia crocodile. Correct me if I'm wrong, but look at how beautiful and stunning the leaves are. Now, this is a Dieffenbachia alongside alongside the Dieffenbachia Marcia that I would totally buy from Proven Winners Leaf Joy series. That's something that I would love to add in my plant collection. I would just need to find a space where I can definitely stay on top of the watering, definitely give them the lighting conditions that they need, and also definitely make sure that they have some humidity. My family is originally from the Philippines, and when I say that Dieffenbachia can just grow outdoors in that tropical climate, they just do very well. And that is really what the kind of environment they need. But look at how gorgeous that green on green variegation is. There's a really stark difference between that Dieffenbachia's like leaf texture versus some of the other houseplants that we would see. And I also love the neon or yellow type plants. You can see right here we have a philodendron golden crocodile. This has also been released by Costa Farms, but you can see the philodendron golden crocodile is another plant that I feel like everybody should add. The serrated leaves of this plant, it's really beautiful. It is another plant that needs to grow up a pole eventually. And then you can see right over here, this is the Geonanthus plant that I will definitely be purchasing. It is one of those plants that I didn't really intend to buy, so you would pretty much call this an impulse buy. And I'm telling you, I probably have a legitimate plant addiction, a plant shopping addiction, and I can't really stop myself from buying plants whenever I'm filming this kind of content. So, I am putting myself out there, plant foldies. All I have to say is, if you want to support the channel and you've made it this far into the video and you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I know that we have several people that watch the live premieres, but I'm hoping that the people that watch the live premieres will also give me just a little bit more of support and a push by hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps it a lot, as well as engaging with me. Like I said, as much as I love to talk to you about plants, I also love to read your comments and give me all the plant stories you want to give me. I will respond to it, and really it's going to make my holiday season, this hectic time of the year, even more easy to, I guess, overcome, because I have that support from our plant foldy community. And for those that are new to the channel, I do call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. The reason being is I originally had this channel as an origami ASMR channel where I was literally folding origami paper cranes every day and posting those videos. But then I figured that there would be a little bit more of a pull by converting it back into a plant channel, just because I think that there is more of an audience for that. But I will actually include more origami paper cranes into my videos, just because that's a little bit part of myself. Something that's interesting is I actually have a goal of folding 1 million paper cranes in my lifetime. I fold origami paper cranes alongside having a 10-hour job that I do, alongside creating these plant YouTube videos, alongside doing, plant podcasts, and then also entertaining my friends and families. Yes, I still have time to fold paper cranes, because I hope that I can actually accomplish that in my lifetime. I have actually been folding origami paper cranes for about 7 years now. So we'll see what that looks like. But going back to the plants, very excited to see that Proven Winners Leaf Joy series does have some plants. Now these plants right here on this rack are more of the older plants, but like this one right here is a beautiful philodendron mayoi. Love the look of this philodendron, and I'm so happy that Proven Winners has actually made it accessible for us to get the philodendron mayoi, even though it's just a green version of the plant. It's still a gorgeous plant. It's a plant that's actually fairly easy to take care of. And I just remember the philodendron mayoi alongside with the philodendron tortum were philodendrons that were really expensive about 4 to 5 years ago. As the plant market continues to evolve and more plants become more readily available, it's just nice to see that there is just a bigger selection of plants. There's just more plants that for the avid plant lover like myself, and for those that watch this video, you just have more options, especially when you are going to a big box store like Home Depot. I say that you do save money whenever you buy at a big box store. I also say that you should always support small businesses and local nurseries, but big box stores are a little bit more readily accessible for the general public. You know, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we do have a plethora of different local nurseries as well to choose from. And so that is always, you know, a plus. But maybe for somebody that doesn't have a lot of plant nurseries around, you already know that at some point you will be around a big box store. And that's the reason why I do a lot of big box store plant shopping videos. I try to do them daily. You know, things have just been super busy for me the last 3 weeks. You know, the holiday season is just really, it's just very, very busy. And I did want to say that at least I get, you know, time off on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be spending it with my family and then just back into the grind. But, you know, there are a lot of things that I'm excited to share. And that is obviously our plant podcast, The Cultivation Corner. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. We only have about 43 subscribers, and I already know Plant Foldies. There are 11,196 subscribers here. If you watch this video, please, please, please help Richie out, help Grow Folds out to grow that plant podcast, because that is something that I've really been working hard on with my my friend Janae Simone and Stephen of I Lift Plants. We'll be talking about plants like this, you know, talking about proven winners plants, you know, our plant commentary about trending plants, how to get out of plant burnout, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I don't think there's really a lot of plant podcasts dedicated. And since I already talk about plants for almost an hour every single day, whenever I am able to post, I just feel like that plant podcast will just give you a little bit of a twist and give you a little bit more entertainment. It's actually pretty funny. I actually watched the first episode, which will debut on my channel, and I thought it was pretty entertaining. But anyways, as you can see right there, I was able to show you some of the proven winners Leaf Joy series, some of the new plants that they've got available. And then I'm going to this next big box store. Again, this is Home Depot, and this one is off of El Dorado Road in Frisco, Texas. It's right next to a Costco, right next to the Dallas North Tollway. And I just wanted to check out this Home Depot to see if, number one, there are still some Dock Block Antheria Michelles by Proven Winners. You know, I'm still on that kick, and it's interesting because a lot of people are still searching for it. I am just really thankful that the day they hit and touched down in Dallas, I was able to at least get one. I remember seeing about 3 of them, but I wasn't going to be that person that was going to just buy all of them up. It's already a bad thing for a lot of people that buy these more rare and uncommon plants to just go ahead and resell. If you are a reseller, that to me isn't necessarily helping the plant community. I think it's selfish. I think, you know, plants shouldn't be resold. I think they should be more accessible to people. And I just remember a couple of stories where people would have just bought all of the Dock Block Anthuriums and then they just want to resell it. It's kind of like when that person or some of the people that I've heard of buy a lot of the Monstera Thai constellations when they first got released, and then they were starting to sell them for a much higher price to people that may not have access to those plants. So for anybody that is thinking about reselling plants, my opinion is, you know, you can make a quick buck, but I always feel like whenever you're reselling those plants, sometimes you're taking the joy away from somebody who genuinely wants to just buy the plant at a pretty cost-effective price. I guess that there is, you know, different, I guess, thought processes on whether, you know, plant selling, you know, reselling plants is a way to make money. I just think that flipping plants for a quick profit takes away the joy of, you know, actually letting somebody find that plant for a cost-effective price. You know, let me get off of my soapbox a little bit, and that's the thing about this channel. Sometimes I could just talk to you about some of my plant thoughts. You'll have to excuse me, and I know that some people will say that I probably ramble on a little bit too much. Hopefully it's not always the case, but that's just going to be me. And that's the thing. Everybody will always have an opinion about how you go about your, you know, how you go about yourself, how you go about your daily lives. But for me, and I think for those that are really into the content I create, I always want to be my most authentic self, because if you can't be authentic for yourself, then you're always going to have to, you know, change and mold yourself to please others. And I've gotten to the point where I may not always please people. I may not always, tick somebody's bucket of tea. I've already been given a lot of feedback. Some people hate it when I say Hydra Helix, or what else? What are some other things? Or they don't like the music I choose for my videos, or maybe I do talk a lot. But again, it's one of those things where this is my plant channel. I mean, I am open to feedback, but at the same time, I kind of want to do things the way I want to do things and make adjustments if needed. I know that I've spent a lot of time really just giving you guys more plant insights, because I've talked a lot about plant care, and feel free to leave in the comments about some of the plants you're seeing, whether you have questions about them, whether you want to know about the plant care tips. I will say a lot of these plants, like these hanging baskets of succulent plants, just like most succulents, they are definitely going to need to be in soil substrates that are fast draining. You don't want to overwater them. So if you're going to water a succulent, you want to water it when the soil is completely dry. And also, if you're going to water succulents, try not to get their foliage wet if it's possible. And then also provide them with quite a bit of light, whether it's direct sun. Some of them may not tolerate direct sun, so do your research, but definitely lots of bright light. If you're gonna grow succulents indoors, you're gonna need to try to put them in a situation where they're either facing a south-facing window or a west-facing window, or better yet, put them under a grow light. They're gonna do better for you in that sense if you just put them in under a grow light. Now, as far as the Christmas cactus or Thanksgiving cactus, they are readily available at this time of the year. I know that you saw a bunch of those poinsettias earlier. Now, the thing about poinsettias is they tend to want to be on the more moist side, so you want to water them a little bit more frequently. Now, as far as this one right here, I didn't even realize that peperomias are kind of similar to succulents. They're kind of similar in that sense, and I can see that because whenever you touch the leaves of a peperomia, sometimes they have that waxy texture. Now, this one right here is a string of raindrops, and I don't really have a lot of string of anything. The only string of anything I have is a variegated string of hearts, which honestly has done very well for me. It's a fast grower. Some of it is actually reverted back to green, more of just a green version. But as far as finding a variegated string of hearts, I found it at Walmart for $12.98. It is about 4 feet trailing now, and it's been doing very well for me. But as far as a Christmas cactus, that's a plant that I want to add to my collection. I want to find one that has a really nice color, maybe that fuchsia color, and grow it. It's a plant that I've been told has actually been an heirloom plant. It's an easy plant to grow for the most part. At least that's what I've been told. So we'll see if I'm able to grow that. But as many plants as I've already added in the last couple of days, I honestly need another 2 to 3 days of just free time to really tend to my plants. I just have so many plants. People have asked me how many plants I actually have. I have over 100 plus plants. A lot of those plants, some of them are actually not doing as well because I haven't had a chance to really tend to their needs. And to me, that's really selfish on my sense to continue to add plants to my collection, even though I know time-wise, I may not necessarily be able to tend to their plants. And that is a running theme about just some of the plants that I do plant shopping, is the fact that it's about balancing and having the routines to take care of your plants. Like this one right here, these are the H2O bowls by Leaf Joy series. These are actually plants that are grown hydroponically, which means that they're growing in straight water. These are on sale, 50% off. They're $10, and these plants, you can choose the different varieties. I wouldn't really recommend this Calathea, for instance, or is it a Stromanthe? One of them, but it's very similar, right? Because these plants are just finicky to me, and I hate to sound like I'm really trying to discourage people from Calatheas, Stromanthes, even prayer plants, but at least from speaking from my past experiences, they just haven't been able to grow well for me long term. And I think that's a lot of everybody's goal, is to be able to grow plants long term, to be able to see them thrive, to be able to propagate from them, to make them a mother plant. Leave in the comments, so plant foldies, if there are certain plants that you've been able to grow for many years, and what plants you've struggled with. I mean, I'm looking at all of these Leaf Joy plants again. This one is an A-drift Hoya for $5.98. And that's the thing about Proven Winners. I hope that Proven Winners Leaf Joy series continues to churn out even more plants, because it's just so exciting to see them become more readily available. Just a selection of plants. I mean, the fact that I saw a Philodendron Florida Bronze, that's a plant that I've been looking for a long time. But every time I look for a Philodendron Florida Bronze, it's always been a really expensive plant. Now that Proven Winners Leaf Joy has actually, released it to Home Depot, and I was able to buy it, I am just, over the moon with that. And that's the thing about going to big box stores. That's what makes this fun, is to be able to find a plant that you couldn't really attain until recently. And I'm just curious to see what 2025 will bring. There's always question about what plant is actually going to be trending. What plants are going to be making a comeback. I would definitely say the Monstera Albo right now is still holding its price tag, but I think that the pricing for Monstera Albos is going to decrease because there's just more accessibility for that plant. I would also say that the variegated Alocasias are going to be a little bit more cost effective. I've already noticed that, because when you think about, say, going to PlantCon 2024 in Houston earlier this year, and then seeing even the variegated Alocasias reduce in price by the time there was a PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, you could just see that plant trends, especially with the plant availability, the cost is going to reduce. I mean, every 6 months, if you give a plant 6 months, especially for one that's trending, you'll see that there's going to be more production for the plant. And when there's more plants that are readily available, especially if they make it at a big box store, then you will be able to acquire that plant. But as you can see right here, this particular Home Depot doesn't necessarily have quite a bit of plants. So I did want to just spend a little bit of time just either talking about some of the plants that I don't always cover, particularly some of the seasonal plants like these Norfolk Pine by Costa Farms, but also just looking at these succulents and cactus. I do like that they aren't really that expensive. They're only for $5.98, and you can see that there's many different varieties of them. Now, for my succulent and cactus plant foldy lovers, I urge you to leave comments in the comments section about your succulents and cactus, what you want to see, because I am going to just spend a little bit of time picking up these succulents and cactus and just letting you look at them. Again, I love the insights. And again, if you haven't already, please make sure you're hitting that like button for this video. It definitely helps push this video out to more plant lovers like yourself. I'm hoping that by the end of December, we'll have about 12,000 plant foldies, 12,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. It's been quite a bit of a journey, but it's one journey that I want to even elevate even more so, add even more effort and time into it as 2025 comes around. And what I like about succulents, especially these echeverias, is just how they have that rosette looking shapes that they have. And there's just many different varieties. I mean, they have more of a pastel looking color to the plants. And then we also have this right here. Let's take a look at this. I'll just show you the plant ID. This is another type of aloe vera. And again, I just didn't realize that there were many different varieties of aloe vera plants. They definitely have many different textures, but you can see some of the plants that I'm really into, and I'm just going to keep showing you different varieties of aloe vera. Like, take a look at this one right here. What do you think about this aloe vera? I do like that it just has a really nice texture to its leaves. And again, this is only for $5.98. So it's a really cost-effective plant price. And I do feel like if you get into succulents and cactus, it's kind of one of those plants that will get you in a rabbit hole where you just want to collect them all. This one right here, I almost dropped it. This is a really cool looking Crusala, and this is the lemon and lime one. So it's a variegated jade plant, and I love jade plants because that is actually a succulent that I'm a little bit more familiar. Is just the jade plants. As a kid, my mom and my grandmother grew these, and that's just one of the plants. And I think that a lot of plants that we tend to grow in our plant collections are either through exposure from our family or just something that you've grown up with. Succulents aren't necessarily plants that I'm really in tune with, because my grandmother, who basically got me into plants, never really grew a bunch of succulents. I would say the only type of succulent plants that she grew would be desert rose and plumerias, and even then I don't know if those are necessarily succulent type plants. But as far as like these true succulents right over here, this one right here, so I really love the look of this shape right here. Look at this one, and this one is a serpentina one. I could just imagine this one becoming a really large one. And I do have two succulents I ended up getting. It's an Echeveria Lola that I bought when it was actually on sale at Home Depot. And that's the thing about succulents. They tend to go on sale a little bit more frequent than, say, like your houseplants, like your philodendrons, your aroids, or some of those houseplants that you would find that are either sourced out from, Home Depot, like at Proven Winners Plants, or Costa Farms Plants. And as far as all of these succulents, again, I keep showing you all of the different shapes, sizes, and colors, and I'm really enjoying it. As far as this particular Home Depot, it doesn't really have a lot of the indoor tropical plants, but I will say they have quite a bit of succulents. So I am going to spend a lot of time with that. Hopefully I don't lose y'all's attention for it, because a lot of this plant, shopping I try to cater to as many plant lovers as possible. And I have been given a lot of direct messages asking me to show more succulents and cactus. So I'm trying to actually show you guys that. This is another Crusala, and take a look at the edges of the leaves. That really nice bright red edge. That's really nice. And I think that as that jade plant or Crusala gets more exposure to sun, it's going to have more pronounced red borders. And then this one right here is another Crusala, the ogre ears, really cool looking Crusala. And I think if I'm going to say, as far as succulents, the two succulent families that I like would definitely be Crusala or jade plants, and then also Aeoniums. And then you can see right here, this one is for $6.98. This is a Norfolk pine by Costa Farms. So Costa Farms has shipped out quite a bit of Norfolk pine. And if you think about the price that they're asking for these Norfolk pine, it's really not that expensive. I would say it's pretty cost effective. And if you want a living type tree, Christmas tree, Norfolk pines are really popular. The thing about it is Norfolk pines need quite a bit of light, and you need to make sure you are staying on top of the watering if you want to grow them long term past the holidays. And then over here there is a table of some Phalaenopsis orchids. These are for $22.98. And no matter what time of the year, Phalaenopsis orchids are just readily available. We also have some bromeliads, which are also on sale. So I'm just going to show you more of these flowering type plants that you can grow indoors. And plant foliage, you can see right over here, we have an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Love neon pothos. Neon pothos for $19.98 by Vigoro Plants. Nice hanging basket. There's a little bit of cosmetic damage on certain leaves, but overall, look at how bright this is. And this is actually out, me shopping at night, but you can see how bright this actual plant is. It is a plant that I would recommend for everybody to add into your plant collection. Now, pothos plants in general are easy to care for, and they're readily available. So, those are two pluses if you're going to add a plant to your house plant collection. This is another Hoya carnosa. This again is for $19.98 by Vigoro Plants, and that is another easy to care for plant. Easy care plants, everybody needs to add them. Easy care plants make our lives easier. it's just easy, basically. And these are plants that you can find at Home Depot or any big box stores. And now I wanted to take a little bit of time showing you the different types of Altman Reserve succulents and cactus. Now, these are a little bit more curated plants. And what I'm going to do is, instead of me flashing the plant ID in like a subtitle, I'm just going to show you the plant ID with the label. But the Altman Reserve is actually more of the curated versions of the succulents and cactus. You can see that that is a particular type of aloe vera that's a little bit more uncommon, and there's just many different varieties of them. I ask anybody who is actually into succulents and cactus to just leave a comment in the comment section about some of this the succulents and cactus that you like this one right here is an aloe vera. Really like the look of this one as well. And you know what, I actually ended up getting a variegated aloe vera at Home Depot a little while back, and it's actually done well for me. And when you think about plants for the holiday season, sometimes mixed planters could make a really good gift for the holidays. You can see this is another mixed planter of succulents, and this isn't a bad little arrangement as well. I think it's got some really nice texture. There's a lot of different types of colors, and you know, it's one of those easy to care for succulent arrangements. You don't necessarily have to worry about actually making the arrangement. It's already there for you. And then this one right here is a Crimson Dragon aloe vera. Look at how cool that is. And you can just see that these have many interesting textures to the leaves. So I'm just going to keep pulling up some of these Altman Reserve succulents and cactus. I do ask anybody that likes these cactus or succulents to leave comments and let me know what you think about the succulents I'm showing you or the cactus I'm showing you in this video. Now this is a cactus or euphorbia that I have, and it is a variegated euphorbia. Look at how pretty that is. It doesn't even look real, but I actually ended up getting one of these in my plant collection, and it really doesn't have a lot of care. It grows under a grow light. I barely water it. I probably haven't watered it in over a month or even a month and a half, and it's still doing very well for me. So super excited about that. And then you can see that there is another type of euphorbia right over here. Now all of these Altman Reserve succulents and cactus, I always say, if you like succulents and cactus a little bit more unique ones, go with the Altman Reserve ones. I think the ones that are at Home Depot, they're a little bit more readily available, and you can see that there's just many different types to choose from. You know, the price I think is $19.98, which isn't bad. And then you also have these succulent arrangements. That one is for $36.98, but if you just want a whole planter of different types of succulents and cactus, you know, you can just buy one like this. And what's good about succulents and cactus is that they have very similar care tips and environmental needs. So, you know, it makes sense to actually make a mixed planter of them. And then you can see right over here, Smart Plants is the main plant nursery that actually provides for Home Depot in terms of their succulents and cactus. I know for Lowe's, the succulents and cactus are provided by Oasis Plants. And then for Walmart, it would be Happy Element plants. So, all three major big box stores in the United States have different plant providers. I would even say Home Depot is probably the main big box store that Proven Winners actually sends plants to. Now, I haven't really seen any Proven Winner plants out in Walmart, and definitely not out in Lowe's unless I'm missing them, at least in the indoor tropical section. Now, let's talk about this. For $26.98, this is a beautiful variegated euphorbia again, and I was actually tempted to purchase this. I know that I have just been on a kick about just doing plant impulse buys, but how can you not want to buy this? Like, I think this is fabulous. Look at the colors. Like, this is the one I would want to buy for $26.98. People have asked me, like, as far as the holidays, if you're wanting to give me a Christmas gift, I always tell people, get me, a Home Depot gift card, a Lowe's gift card. I tell my family that because then it could fund my plant obsession, my plant impulse buys like this. And to all of the plant foldies that have actually taken the time and given me that generosity to leave a super sticker or a super thanks, which is a way to send me a monetary tip through my videos, I really appreciate it. It's one of those things that have actually helped fund my gas that I spend driving from one big box store to another, and then also just supplying me with a little bit of funds to purchase some of the plants that I like to feature. So I did want to take a little of time to say thank you to those that have actually sent a super sticker, super thanks. To my plant foldy Rose, I miss seeing you on the live chats. I know that you've sent quite a bit of super stickers and thanks. I really appreciate it. I still have your red Aglaonema suxum, and we will meet up soon to where I can get you that Aglaonema. Thank you for being such an avid supporter of the plant content that I create. This right here, guys, I think I should probably go back and buy it. And the good thing about this Home Depot is I'm only based about 10 minutes away from this Home Depot, so I could potentially come back. I don't think there's a lot of people just running out and buying these succulents and cactus, as compared to people going all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area looking for that Doc Block and Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. It was insane when I actually found it at that one Home Depot. I think it was it Tuesday? Or no, it was like Wednesday evening last week. And it was just crazy because I could just see people just piling into these big box stores. And a lot of it has to do with, obviously, and Anthurium is actually a trending plant, but also just that social media presence where people are talking about it. People are posting about it on Facebook. People like myself are talking about it on YouTube. You can see it on TikTok. And it's just interesting how plants become really popular because of the rise of social media. Now, this aloe vera right here, I ended up buying a little while back. It's doing very well for me. Beautiful variegated aloe vera, and it does produce a lot of pups. And that's the thing about some of the plants. I like plants that actually produce pups because you can just separate them from the mother plant and then you're able to get another free plant. I'm all about propagating plants. I'm all about, sharing my plant propagations with my friends and family and even fellow plant foldies. I'm hoping at some point next year we can do some more in-person meetups outside of a plant show. There's a lot of DFW plant foldies that I would love to connect with. The ones that have already met in person, you guys are awesome. You make these plant videos a lot of fun, and even though I do talk about the same plants on a daily basis, I'm still thankful that you give me that opportunity to express myself, to talk about plants. Maybe I'm able to give you a little bit of company for those that may not necessarily have people around to hang out with, to talk about plants. And, those that have actually shared some of their personal life on the comment section about whether you're struggling with something or maybe celebrating a plant win. I appreciate that because I know that I've expressed myself quite a bit on some of my plant shopping videos. I know that I've actually talked more about plant insights versus the plants that I'm showing you on film, because a lot of my earlier plant shopping videos, I basically would tell you, here is the plant name, here is the plant price, and then move on with it. I do want these plant shopping videos to be more of an interactive conversation where I'm basically just talking to you as if you are walking around with me at a big box store. So yes, a lot of people have asked, Richie, you haven't shown your face. You're going faces on YouTube. Trust and believe it's not because I am shy. It's because there is a certain level where I want to just kind of keep it all about the plants versus me in general. Now you will actually see more of me physically on the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, and I just can't tell you how exciting it is to finally debut our season 1 plant podcast. If you haven't already, definitely check out some of the snippets and previews of some of our podcasts. It's really funny. There's a lot of open dialogue between me, Janae Simone, and Stephen at I Live Plants. And I do want to urge everybody to subscribe to Janae Simone's YouTube channel as well as Stephen of I Live Plants. The first, second, and third episodes are all going to be uploaded in our, on our respective channels. Like the debut episode is going to go on my channel. The second episode will go on Janae's channel, and Steven's channel will have the third episode, and then it will go back to the Cultivation Corner. 4th, 5th, and 6th episodes will actually be on our official Cultivation Corner Plant podcast. So the first 3 episodes have already been uploaded, so I urge everybody to make sure, like the one on my video that's scheduled, to click on it. You can already hit the like button. You can already leave comments in the comment section for the first episode, and to share that that actual link to more people. That way we can have a huge debut plant party Monday, December 9th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be a fun time. Janae Simone and Stephen of I Live Plants will actually be there. But as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, I've kind of just spent a little time picking up plants, showing you all of these succulents and cactus. I am curious to see what everybody is doing for Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving holiday, and if you are actually going to go Black Friday shopping this coming Black Friday. I can't believe that, Thanksgiving is literally 3 days from now, or 2 days from now. And so I'm just interested to see what everybody's doing on Thanksgiving. Hopefully I'll have a video premiere there. So if you're not really hanging out with family, but you want a community where you can still chat, I'm hoping that I can actually have a video there. It just depends on whether I'm able to film some content. I may put out a compilation or a marathon video. Hopefully you will still tune in. I know not everybody chooses to watch those, but if you want to support me and you want to just hear me talk, or you miss chatting with all of the Plant Foldies, definitely tune into the plant shopping marathons, the compilations I make. It's actually longer format, so it's going to be about minimum 2 hours. But hey, if you're doing your plant chores, or you're just hanging around the house and you want to hear me talk about plants, you can always tune into the plant shopping compilations or marathons. They're a little bit more long playing. And as you can see right here, I'm still walking around picking up these succulents and cactus. Now this Kalanchoe right here, I love it because it has that texture on the leaves, that fuzzy texture that I like. And then check out this Echeveria right here. This is the Rubik's Cube one, and you can see that there are 3 plants there. I think at some point I'm going to actually read up about succulents and cactus. I think I'm going to try to really familiarize myself with certain varieties to where I can tell you the plant ID. As far as like a lot of the indoor tropical plants, I'm able to at least let you know the plant names. But as far as succulents and cactus, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of them look very similar. So it makes it a little bit more challenging for me to actually identify that. Now, live Christmas trees. Let's talk about live Christmas trees. Who actually has live Christmas trees in their homes whenever you put up a Christmas tree? My family never really had live Christmas trees, but I do love the scent of them. I think the allure, or to have a live Christmas tree indoors, is because of that Christmas scent smell. And you can see that Home Depot has now gotten a lot of these live Christmas trees. And, you know, I always thought about like the sustainability of actually chopping down a bunch of these Christmas trees, but it looks like, you know, for every Christmas tree that's chopped down, about 5 new, you know, Christmas trees are actually planted. So there is some type of sustainability about it. And, you know, as far as like the live Christmas trees, it is interesting and really cool that a lot of people will actually use that Christmas tree as, you know, being recycled, actually making it into some type of lumber. So I like that there is a little bit more sustainability for live trees, like live Christmas trees. I don't really put up a Christmas tree anymore. I only did that when I was growing up with my family. You know, I'm the eldest of 3 kids. I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and they have their own families at this very minute. And, you know, when everybody asks me when I actually celebrate the holidays, I tend to do it on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. New Year's Eve is very important to me just because I always want to make sure that I can make it to the next year. It's very important. So I don't do anything too crazy. I would say when I was a little bit younger, I would be out, you know, out and about with people. But nowadays, I just like to hang out with my family and just, you know, count down the new year and really just be thankful for some of the blessings I've received over the years. You know, heading into 2025, I definitely want to make sure that I'm consistently working on my health, being more active, eating right, and also just being more mindful about my plants. That's something I really want to improve on. I mean, this whole plant journey, you know, me talking about, you know, big box store plants has really had me slow down a little bit and really admire the fact that there's just a lot of people that love plants. And, you know, it's interesting because some of the people you may not necessarily think will be into plants will surprise you. And then all of a sudden they invite you into their homes, and then you can see that they have hundreds of plants as well. I am curious to ask all of the plant foldies that have at least invested this much time to listen to me talk about just things in general. I wouldn't necessarily say a lot about the plants. I mean, I am really excited that I was able to at least feature a lot of the new proven winners plants at the very beginning of this video, but I'm just curious to see what plants you're really growing in your plant collection, what plants you prefer, or are you like me where basically any plant could bring you joy? If you're gonna ask me what plants are my number 1 plant or my top plants, number 1 would definitely be Aglaonemas. I'm getting another set of imported Aglaonemas from Indonesia in the next week from Green Spaces ID, and then also pothos plants. Like I've gotten to the point now where, again, I want to keep things basic, I want to keep things simple, and I want to keep things cost effective. And like pothos plants are super easy. I did go to a local plant nursery called Plants and Planters in Richardson, Texas. I have not been in a while, and I saw a bunch of gorgeous hanging baskets in large form Aglaonemas. So definitely stay tuned for that video. If you're going to look at one of the best places to buy hanging baskets of plants, whether it's Hoyas or different types of hanging basket plants, definitely go to Plants and Planters. And if you are an Aglaonema lover like myself, and I would think at this point you would be since you've been watching my videos, check out Plants and Planters. I ended up splurging and buying some large form Aglaonemas, and they were really cost effective. But as you can see right here, as I wrap up this video, this video, you can see that they do have a lot of these seasonal plants. You know, as far as these like pine plants, I'm curious for those that actually make bonsai, if you use these plants like the dwarf Alberta spruce plants, these cypress plants, if you actually make them into bonsai, I would think that they would be really good pre-bonsai. And for those that don't know what the term bonsai is, it's basically the art of growing a miniature tree. Anyways, if you guys like this video this evening, please make sure you hit the like button. I've had fun just talking to y'all today, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds. This is Richie. I'll have a brand new video tomorrow. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in North McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds, that is the fastest way to get in touch with me directly. If you have any questions about plants, plant care, or just want to connect with me, follow me on Instagram. So this morning, I decided to go to the Home Depot way up north in North McKinney, Texas, just to see if I could find that elusive Anthurium dock block that was released by Proven Winners. So we'll see what that looks like, but I will also just take you on a big box store plant shopping spree. You can see right here that a lot of these big box stores are now getting some holiday plants for Christmas and just the holidays in general. We've got some poinsettias right over here. Let's take a look at this one right here, how much it costs. This one is only for $4.98. Now, I will tell you, as far as poinsettias this year, I want to go and find me a poinsettia, like a pink one that's highly variegated. I think that would be fun to just keep as a long-term plant. Now, as far as the plant care tips for poinsettias, I do know that they need to be consistently watered. Bright indirect light is what you want to give poinsettias. And it's interesting because a lot of poinsettias are really just grown as a seasonal holiday plant. Like this one right here is a nice pink one. And notice how it has a little bit of that sport variegation. Let's take a look at that right here. And the colors of the poinsettia are actually the leaves. The blooms are actually just very tiny. And then you can see right here, Proven Winners H2O Leaf Joy bowls. These are for $19.99, and these are all hydroponic. So basically, you are growing the plant in straight water. You can see right here the Macaulay's Finale Philodendron. And again, I want to see if the Dallas area has received the Proven Winners dock block anthuriums. We've been seeing a lot of that actually out, I think, in New Jersey and out on the West Coast. But we will see if the DFW market has the anthuriums available. If you haven't already and you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and want to stay up to date about some of these new plant releases, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. Make sure that it's not for personalized notifications. Definitely click notification bell on for all notifications, just in case I do upload a video or I do find these Proven Winner anthuriums by Doc Block. So we're going to see what that looks like. But right now I am going to show you some of these Leaf Joy H2O bowls. You can see we've got some pothos plants here. And to be honest, I don't really want to spend $19.99 on a pothos plant that's in water, just because I feel like I could create that myself. It is an interesting concept, but I do find that the Leaf Joy series, the H2O bowls, are a little bit pricey. You can also see they've got Leaf Joy Littles by Proven Winners. That one is a trade scantia feeling flirty. And then we also have a spider plant right over here. Now these are all for $5.98. I do think that these are good starter plants, and you can see right here. Now I do find this attractive, and this one is for $29.99. This is a Monstera Deliciosa in a Leaf Joy H2O bowl. I think it's a cute concept. I think it's a concept that if you don't have like a really nice bowl like this, you can buy one. Although if you go to Home Depot, sometimes they will actually put those on sale. Now over here we do have a bunch of Christmas cactus. So around this time of the year, obviously in November, December, you will find Thanksgiving cactus and Christmas cactus. Honestly, these could be Thanksgiving cactus, just because these cactus are starting to bloom around that same range. I mean, I just can't believe that Thanksgiving and Black Friday is literally going to be 2 weeks from now. It's going to be crazy with all of the deals and sales that you're going to see a lot of retailers put out, and hopefully some of our plant nurseries and big box stores will also put some nice deals. I always like looking at this, and the reason why I like looking at these kalanchoe, I do like the bowl. It's the planter it's in, just because there's so many varieties of flowering kalanchoe. It is a succulent, and I didn't realize that it was a succulent plant until recently. And then you can see right here, this is a crown of thorns. I love that as well. And I love the fact that it has that pink bloom around it. This was only for $7.98, which I really think is a good plant buy. I ended up finding one of these blooming anthuriums as well. It's not the Doc Block Michelle anthuriums we're seeing, but we're gonna see if we have this available. Again, plant foldies. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. I can't guarantee that. I just really took I guess just a adventure to see if we can find these proven winners plants. Sometimes whenever you go to a big box store, you may actually be surprised about a plant release. A lot of times social media will actually post it. You'll find it on other social media platforms. But sometimes, like when I went to Lowe's, where I wasn't really expecting to find another Neon Enjoy pothos, I was able to find it. So we're just going to take a look at this Home Depot. I will say that this Home Depot has a phenomenal display of different types of Christmas trees. It is about to be the second week of November, and all I can tell you is look at how gorgeous these Christmas trees are. A lot of people are actually putting their Christmas trees up even before Thanksgiving. You can see a lot of retailers actually putting a lot of these Christmas trees on 50% off, and we'll just see how all of that pans around. I am curious to see what plant nurseries are going to have some really good Black Friday deals, if any. But one thing is for sure, I definitely want to try to find those anthuriums. I can't believe that dock block anthuriums are being sold at a big box store. So we'll see. As you can see right here, they do have a table of some houseplants. And on top of just looking for the dock block anthuriums at Home Depot, I do want to highlight a lot of the seasonal plants, like all of the Christmas trees that they have, the live Christmas trees. And this one right here is actually a really nice new alocasia release right here by Proven Winners. Let's take a look at the plant ID. There you go right here. Mystic Blackout Alocasia. I love the black stems. That's another alocasia that I wouldn't mind adding to my plant collection. And the thing about it is, Proven Winners is typically known for the outdoor gardening plants, but I'm so glad that Proven Winners has really delved into the indoor tropical plants, indoor house plants. They have a range of philodendron and uncommon plants, and I appreciate it. I do think that some of Proven Winners plant pricing might be a little bit more on the more expensive side, but they do have quality plants. Like right here, this is a Ficus Amstel King. I do like this as well. Now, as far as Ficus, again, my recommendation for the plant care tips for any Ficus plant is to make sure that you are providing them with bright indirect light and making sure that you are staying on top of the watering. So I would say water the plant when it is about 40 to 50% dry, and then just water it and give it a good soak. But as far as these two Proven Winner plants, we haven't run into the dock block Michelle anthuriums, Anthurium Michelle. Who knows, we might find it. And the thing about it is, I am seeing that this Home Depot has some light stock in terms of just the indoor tropical plants. So I may not find it, but I am going to go to, another location just to see if there's any other plant finds. But as far as the plants here, and again, I would recommend just watching this entire video to find out whether I find the Proven Winners dock block anthuriums Michelle at a big box store. But you can see $14.98. I do love that they have this Hoya carnosa, Crimson Princess. It is one of the more common Hoyas to find, but needless to say, it is still an easy to care for plant. Hoyas are so forgiving. Hoyas come in so many varieties, and I just love them. And then if you're able to get them to bloom, that is a huge plus. I haven't been able to get mine to bloom yet, but who knows? I might be lucky. They may end up blooming, but at least I haven't sent a Hoya to plant heaven. Now, this is a beautiful Tradescantia Feeling Flirty. It's a little bit more compact. It is for $19.99, and I do have one of these as well. I did get it on sale for it was 50% off. So that's the thing about going to big box stores. I always say sometimes the unexpected things, like plants being on sale or doing going in there and finding an unexpected rare plant find, that's what makes big box store plant shopping fun. And then on top of that, most big box stores will have very cost-effective plant pricing. So I know that I do these daily videos for all of our plant foldies here, and again, I wanted to say thank you so much for always tuning into my plant content. I work very hard to try to get you that daily plant content, with the holiday season being extremely busy for me as far as just my career. I'm at least very happy to know that these plants, being able to get some of this plant shopping for my, my plant content. So thank you for tuning into my live premiere chats. I really appreciate it. And then you can see right over here, we've got another proven winners, new release. It's not the Anthurium. This is another Philodendron Golden Crocodile. I love that as well. And it's one of those plants that I just appreciate. It's a gorgeous neon colored looking plant. I love the yellow neon colored leaves. It is a really beautiful plant right here. So we're going to see what that all looks like in terms of the plant. As far as getting more of that neon colored look for that philodendron, you want to make sure you are providing it with quite a bit of bright indirect light. I would say let the soil dry out completely before watering the philodendron Golden Crocodile. It is also a Training Tropicals Costa Farms plant, so I'm glad that Proven Winners is actually releasing more philodendron. I am still surprised that they were able to get some Dock Block Anthurium Michelles, and I've just recently gotten into those types of anthuriums because in the past I found that anthuriums have been a little bit more challenging for me. My leaves would get a little bit crispy or yellow, but then after I changed my substrate from soil to lechuza pon or leca or semi-hydro, it has made growing anthurium so easy. I love that as well. It's one of those changes in the substrate that really impact the long-term growing ability for me to grow a plant like an anthurium. And as you can see right over here, I am just picking up a bunch of Ficus elastica. You can see that this one is a Ficus elastica ruby. Now with the ruby, as far as plant care tips, again, it is a ficus. So you want to make sure you're giving it quite a bit of bright indirect light or just full on sun. If you want, if you're able to just acclimate it, it will do phenomenal. If you're able to provide it a higher humidity condition, it's going to also enjoy it as well. These plants are very easy to take care of. The only thing that makes them somewhat challenging is the lighting requirements. And again, most people will not have the best lighting conditions in indoor spaces. So if you have to grow plants indoors, but you don't have the best lighting conditions, I would always suggest supplementing your lighting with some grow lights. As far as grow lights, I will ask plant foldies that are watching this channel that use grow lights, what grow light brands would you recommend? I know that I use Sansi grow lights. I am curious to try using Soltec grow lights. I find it that there's many positive reviews. So again, give me your insights, as well as if you've made it this far into the video, please hit the like button for this video. I will say that your lights will definitely, likes will definitely help this channel grow even further because it does push this content out to more plant foldies like yourself or future plant foldies. So definitely hit the like button. And I also encourage everybody to leave comments in the comment section. I know that some of you guys may watch this video during the live premiere chats, but I do hope you will also leave some plant insights, plant care tips, or if you've been able to find an anthurium Dock Block Michelle by Proven Winners at Home Depots. That is the hot topic of the hour. I am super excited, and I'm pretty confident that if I am not able to find that Dock Block Anthurium at Home Depot at a big box store today, I just know that the Dallas-Fort Worth area tends to get some really good plants in general. So we will see. But you can see that this is an amazing looking dark foliage plant. This is a Ficus elastica burgundy, and I just really love the look of the Ficus elastica burgundy. Really nice looking plant. Love the look of it. You can see that it's got a natural shine, but I will say if you don't provide it with quite a bit of light, it will not get you that dark foliage. It's going to be more of a darker green color. So make sure you are providing it with quite a bit of light. I will say that Ficus elastica plants, these rubber tree plants are a little bit more drought tolerant. Their leaves are very waxy, they're very rubbery. And I did want to show you some more new Proven Winner releases. So Proven Winners has released some gorgeous philodendron, and this one right here, unfortunately, this one particular leaf kind of snapped. This is a philodendron squamiferum. I already have one, but I love the fact that they have this available. These are for $29.99, and if you're looking for a nice philodendron squamiferum is an interesting one because if you look at the petioles on the leaves, it's nice and fuzzy. And again, I love the look of this dark Ficus elastica. And I actually and I know this sounds silly, but I really like the look of the Philodendron Mayoi. This is for $29.99. I already have one as well, but this one is a really nice size. You can see that the leaves are pretty large. They're pretty mature. I have one and it hasn't pushed out nearly as much growth. So I don't know if it's a slower growing plant, but we will see what that all looks like. And I love the Philodendron Mayoi. I just remember years back, this philodendron was quite expensive, and now it is not. It is one of those plants that I think, you know, with big box stores and with nurseries like Proven Winners, the fact that they were able to make them readily available for the general public, I really appreciate that. It brings me a lot of joy to be able to see this. And, you know, as far as me wanting to buy this, like, I'm super tempted to buy this, but again, I'm holding my plant budget just because if I am able to find that Proven Winners Anthurium Dock block at this Home Depot, I'm definitely going to buy it, hands down. But this is a strong contender for me to take home. I mean, you can take a look at this. Let me know in the comments what you think about this Philodendron Mayoi. I think it's beautiful. And, you know, Philodendron Mayoi, it's a pretty easy to care for plant. And I love the fact that the leaves have an interesting shape about it. I mean, take a look at that. And the thing about it is, even though it is not a variegated plant, I still find beauty in the fact that it's got a beautiful green color to its leaves. I don't know. It's one of those things where now, even though I do like the variegated plants, I will always like variegated plants, I have a strong appreciation for green colored plants. Now, we're going to go keep looking for those anthuriums, but for now, I'm going to keep talking about some of the other plants here. You can see that crotons was $24.98. Now it's $19.99. And, you know, the reason why a lot of these crotons, this one is specifically a croton petra, they made them more on sale because the fall season is coming to a close. You know, we're now going to be more into the Christmas holiday seasonal plants, a lot of the pines, a lot of the cypress, that sort of thing. And you can see right over here, this is one of my favorite cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. This is the cordyline kiwi because it just has so many colors to it. You know, you've got some pinks, you've got some neon green, you've got some I guess yellowish colored leaves. And it's just a very interesting plant. I would love to be able to grow a cordyline plant indoors, but I've had many instances where I've tried to grow this plant indoors and it ends up just getting spider mites. You know, there's just a lot of plants, and I've talked about this in a lot of my videos, but certain plants are really not meant to grow indoors because we're just not able to give it the actual environment it needs. Even though we do put grow lights, even though we put humidity, sometimes they just are not meant to grow indoors. Now, as far as this plant right here, this one is an easy to care for indoor plant, large spathiphyllum right here. I mean, look at how massive the leaves are. And, you know, peace lilies, I always say that this is an easy to care for plant, but it's one of those plants that it doesn't really interest me. I suppose if I find like a, you know, spathiphyllum or peace lily Picasso, a variegated one, that might be, you know, something that I'd be interested in. But I just feel like there's just a lot of surface space for that particular plant. Still, it's an easy to care for plant, one that I would recommend for, you know, anybody beginning plants. And then also, if you go to a big box store like Home Depot, you will find some really good deals on hanging baskets. These are by Vigoro Plants. You can see these are for $19.98. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Classic plant. It's a plant I would recommend. It's a plant that I feel like everybody needs to add in their plant collection. And then you can see right over here, we've got another Hoya carnosa, Crimson Princess. Really like the look of this plant as well. I find it super attractive, and it's an easy to care for plant as well. This one again is for $19.98. And if you notice, the leaves have more of a pinkish color. That's because it's gotten some more bright light. It's sun stress, and that's the cool thing about Hoyas. If you are sun stressing it, meaning you're providing it with more light than it really requires, but not necessarily burning it, it's going to give you some really good coloration and possible variegation. So that's an added bonus to succulents, you know, and also Hoyas. So as far as the Hoyas, $19.98. You know, with Hoyas, I wouldn't overwater them. I would actually wait till their soil is completely dry before you water them, and try to give them more bright light. They like that more so than being in a low light condition. I don't think low light conditions are really going to work well for Hoyas, but again, for those that are Hoya lovers, Hoya heads, please leave in the comments your plant care tips, because I'm not necessarily an expert of Hoyas, but I know some of you guys are. And I did want to pan over some of the planters. So, as far as me doing big box or plant shopping videos, I do want to show you some of the plant products I use and some of the planters that I'm really into. So these terracotta planters I love, and then I do like the look of this, $9.97. I did wish that this would actually have a drainage hole, but I really like that minimalistic look. I love very matte finishes for planters. I just find that to be a little bit more modern looking, a little bit more sleek, and that's really what the aesthetics for my plant collection would be as far as like planters. Although I would say I've been buying a bunch of self-watering planters, just the white ones, because I want to continue to transfer a lot of my plants into semi-hydro. I just find that semi-hydro is a lot easier to grow plants. And then you can see right here, I'm going to keep searching for that particular Proven Winners Dock Block Anthurium, but you can see we've got a bunch of Monstera deliciosas and a massive Alocasia regal shields, and this one is for $24.98. And the thing about Alocasia regal shields is, look at how gorgeous the veining is of this Alocasia. This Alocasia can actually grow to a pretty large size, but the thing about it is, this Alocasia is also very much spider mite prone, or a spider mite magnet when you try to grow them indoors. I really think they're really best to be outside, but if you're able to grow an Alocasia regal shields, I mean, more power to you. I just have tried to grow that in the past and it hasn't done well for me. And then you can see, as far as like holiday plants, now they're taking blooming Anthurium. I wish it was actually the Proven Winners Dock Block Anthurium, but this is the most common Anthurium you will find at a big box store. I really like it. They come in many different varieties of blooms, but the most common one would be the red one. And then I'm just gonna go walk around here. There are a couple of other houseplants I can show you, but I want to walk around here and just show you some of the indoor and outdoor plants. You can see we've got some chrysanthemums there. We've got some more shrubs that are pretty much native, or at least can grow in Texas. So me growing in plants outdoors in Texas, my grow zone is 8B. There are certain plants that are a little bit more conducive to grow long term for me at North Dallas. But you can see right here, that is a variegated ginger. I really like that plant. The thing about it is, I've tried to grow variegated ginger indoors. It did not work for me. It was not happy growing indoors. So it's one of those plants that you have to grow outside. And before I go into more of the outdoor plants, I did want to walk over here and just show you a couple more plant products I would recommend. I really love using Super Thrive vitamin solution. This one's for $15.47. Super Thrive is amazing. So I use it for my semi-hydro water nutrients, as well as just in watering. You can actually water your plant with this daily, or at least with every watering. It does provide a B vitamin that really helps with stress plants. I always say water your plants whenever you're doing, repots, or if you're converting a plant from soil to semi-hydro. I really think that Super Thrive is a great plant product. That rooting powder is one I've used in the past that does very well as far as like soil propagations. And then I actually like Miracle Grow. Some people have their own opinions about Miracle Grow. They're not really a fan, but I'm a fan of it because Miracle Grow fertilizer is actually really cost effective. I've used that liquid fertilizer. I've used the Quick Start, and I definitely use the all-purpose Miracle Grow fertilizer. It's got a 20-20-20 nutrient solution for it, and it pretty much works on any plants. I would say you can use it half dose. And then as far as fish plant food, highly recommend fish fertilizer. I mean, if you use like maybe half the dose or a quarter of the dose, you can water your plants with pretty much every watering to feed the plant. It doesn't really burn the plant if you're over fertilizing it, because it's a very gentle fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer. It's a natural fertilizer. And again, fish fertilizer for me would be something I would recommend. Now I'm going to walk over here and show you some Encore azalea. So I know we are looking for the the proven winners, Dock Block Anthurium. But whenever I go to a big box store, I will always show you outdoor gardening plants, because for me, outdoor gardening plants are also a huge interest of mine. You can see this is for $32.98. We've got some Encore azaleas, and again with azaleas, I love them. They are blooming shrubs that will actually rebloom at least 3 times a year. Most azalea varieties will not rebloom. They usually just bloom in the spring or early summer, but the Encore azalea will bloom spring, summer, and fall. So you can see right over here, this one is already starting to bloom. And the thing about Encore azalea or any azaleas, if you're gonna plant them in your landscape, you wanna plant them with more acidic soil. And to get your soil more acidic, you can always add like coffee grounds to the soil. They really like that. And also, when you plant in Encore azalea, you wanna make sure, and I will cannot stress this, that you keep the soil moist, not overwater, but moist, because the roots are very fine, and that's the fastest way to kill an azalea. They have very fine roots. They don't do very well in drought. You have to really let these the roots establish before they can really tolerate being in drought. Now over here, I want to show you this planter again. It's a mixed planter. I am a fan of it. You can see this is that Asiatic jasmine that has more of that orange variegation. Love that as well, mixed with the croton. So this is more of a fall seasonal planter that people probably utilize during the Halloween season. And then you can see they've got some beautiful flowers here. So I'm just going to walk around and show you guys some more of the outdoor plants. And you can see this one is $18.98. Love the look of this Encore azalea. You look at that bloom right there. And you can see plant foldies that we've got a plethora of different types of plants available. Those canna lilies are still within season. And then I just love the fact that Home Depot has just so many varieties of flowering plants. And then we have coral bells right here. And the thing about coral bells is they have a really nice color, a nice leaf interest. Now with coral bells, they do like sun. I've tried to grow these actually indoors. It did not work out for me. It ended up getting spider mites. So again, a lot of these outdoor plants, some of them are not versatile enough to be put into an indoor space, especially the ones that really require full sun. So that's what I wanted to just highlight. So if you've ever tried to grow plants that are really meant to be outdoors, the ones that are full sun loving, it's going to be a challenge to grow them indoors. But like I said, again, I did want to also feature some of these holiday Christmas type plants. Look at this right over here. This one is only for $10.98. This is a lemon cypress, and I love the look of it because it's got more of that neon green, neon colored foliage on it. And I really love that it has a natural cylinder type, cylindrical type shape to it. And let's take a look at this one right over here, plant foldies. We've got another one for $10.98. What type of plant is this? This is another type of cypress. This is a Euro cypress. And if you're looking for Christmas decor that you can carry over past the Christmas season or the holiday season, buy yourself one of these Christmas type tree type plants. These are considered living Christmas trees. The only thing is these will not do long-term indoors. You really want to grow these outdoors. They're really not meant to grow indoors. And that's why I always find it interesting that, people will take an Alberta spruce or an Italian stone pine and try to grow it indoors, because these plants really require quite a bit of light for them to do well. But, needless to say, these are super cute. I was actually thinking a lot of these plants could be good for bonsai. So for those that don't know what bonsai are, it's the Japanese art of actually growing plants in a shallow container that mimics more so a miniature tree. I mean, this right here, you can see that this is a dwarf Alberta spruce. Would be really interesting to see if these could actually be great bonsai, pre-bonsai specimens. So for those that actually grow bonsai or are into bonsai, do you ever utilize a lot of the pine times that are more readily available, when they come out for the holiday season. But I am just going to pick up a couple of more of these plants and just walk around and show you these Christmas trees or live Christmas trees. I am noticing that Home Depot and a lot of the big box stores are getting ready to get their live Christmas trees. So we will definitely see that. I will try my very best to go ahead and film that. But again, it has been a very busy 2 weeks, 3 weeks already for me with just work and trying to balance that out. I do appreciate you guys for always tuning in to watch my plant shopping videos. And again, if you made it this far into the video and you haven't hit the like button already, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It really helps me out. It's a huge way to support my channel, and then also sharing these videos to your friends. If you have, social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook, I would really love that support as well. Would really appreciate it. But you can see right here, this is by Jay Berry, but you see that we've got even more Alberta spruce trees, $22.98. These are super cute. What I would do if I am going to buy one of these plants is I would actually buy it and I would actually grow this as like a patio garden plant versus taking this indoors. It is interesting though to see if anybody actually takes these living Christmas trees to grow indoors long term. I think it would just be a challenge. I don't think it would be one of those plants that you could grow indoors. I know that a lot of big box stores will also carry what you would call a Norfolk pine, which is more of a tropical plant to grow as a indoor plant. So you can see over here, we even have more plants here by season. This one is for $14.98. And then this one is a really nice looking plant. I would say this would actually make a good shrub for a Japanese garden. So if you're looking for smaller shrub type plants, you can get these pines and these cypress. And for me, I'm actually curious to see if anybody's actually grown an Alberta spruce in the ground in a landscape. Now, I also find that rosemary plants are used for Christmas trees, so it smells very good. I love the smell of rosemary. It's a nice herb, but you can see that we have a bunch of these readily available as well. And I just find it interesting that we have these different types of live Christmas tree type plants that come out at a big box store like Home Depot. I do want to ask anybody, if you buy your live Christmas trees from Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart, I'm curious to see where most people will buy their live Christmas trees, or do you go to like a live Christmas tree like nursery specifically? So leave in the comments what that looks like for you. I will say, if I am gonna pick a plant that is a live Christmas tree, I would buy the Italian stone pine. I just think that it's a lovely looking plant, and it does have that nice natural shape just like a Christmas tree. So this is a holiday tree. This is trees that will only be shown or actually be more readily available during the holiday season, and it's one that I would recommend, the Italian stone pine. And then we just have more plants right over here. So that is the beauty of big box stores. You will always find many different plants, and most big box stores stay within trend as far as being seasonally relevant. Last month in October, they had a bunch of croton plants, and I would say crotons are definitely not meant to grow in the fall. They really like full sun, high humidity, tropical environments. But hey, as far as being an annual plant, they are considering that they really wouldn't grow long term in a colder environment, but they have fall color leaves. So I suppose that's what makes them a seasonal plant for decoration. And it's just really interesting that the uses we have for plants. I know that a lot of us will utilize plants also for decorative purposes, but when we make plants decorative purposes, it doesn't always align with the plant being able to grow long term, if that makes any sense. But this is a plant, for instance, that I feel like is a seasonal plant. This is the Norfolk pine. They have a bunch of those, and then it's interesting how they have celosas right over here as well. I mean, I guess it can be a Christmas holiday type plant. And then you can see that most plants will become a seasonal plant when you start putting little bows and ribbons like that. And you can see that Casa Farms for $12.98 $12.98, has a bunch of Norfolk pines. Costa Farms definitely has produced quite a bit to provide big box stores. You can see that these are really cute ornaments, and it does have that holiday feel for it. But if you ever saw a Norfolk pine in its full maturity, it has an interesting shape about it. I would do a search on the website, on the internet for it, and find an actual picture, but it's really nice looking. Again, these are for $12.98. So Costa Farms has already pushed out a lot of these Norfolk pine to Lowe's and Home Depot. So I'm curious to see if they will also push out a bunch at Walmart. All of those three major big box stores that I go to go plant shopping, they tend to have the same plants, but it just really depends on the plant pricing. I would go and out on a limb and say that Walmart will probably have the most cost-effective plant pricing, but you never know. Sometimes Home Depot will actually put these plants straight on sale, and then Lowe's will also clearance out their plants. So for me, that's the reason why I like to go do big box store plant shopping videos on a daily basis, because you just never know what you're going to run into. But I am starting to get a little discouraged. I don't think there is a proven winners Doc Block, Michelle, and Therium available at this Home Depot, but there have been instances where I was just looking all over, and all of a sudden there was like a very discreet corner of a big box store where all of a sudden you'll find that rare plant. So I'm just going to keep walking around here talking to you guys about the holiday plants and just giving you some more insights about plant care and what plants are available at big box stores. And you can see we've got a bunch of blooming plants. We've got a bunch of roses. And the thing about it is I wouldn't recommend growing roses in the landscape at this point because the temperatures are going to get a little cold. So most roses at this point, I don't know if it's the time now to go ahead and prune them back for next year. I would love to be able to grow roses, but the thing about it is I've done it in the past. And one thing I will say about roses is you definitely do not want to overcrowd them. When you grow roses, you want to make sure that there is really good airflow. Otherwise, they're very much susceptible to plant pests and fungal diseases. And also watering roses leaves, you want to water from the base because you don't want their leaves to stay wet because, again, they will get that yellow black mold on their leaves. And that was one of the problems about my rose garden. I had a really beautiful variegated rose garden, but long term, it just took too much effort to try to keep them alive because I overcrowded them. And you can see right here, as far as like variegated plants, variegated blooming plants, I love this bougainvillea blueberry ice. I love the variegated leaves, and for a variegated plant that takes full sun and can tolerate the heat, I think that's fabulous because most variegated plants you would think are a little bit more sensitive to getting a lot of sun, but this plant needs to be in full sun. And so as far as bougainvilleas, I will always be a fan of bougainvilleas. I think that most people overlook bougainvilleas. For me, I would be able to grow bougainvilleas only as an annual plant or as a plant that is going to stay in a container because my grow zone, which is 8B in North Dallas, we get really harsh cold winters, and that plant is more of a tropical plant and it will not survive being in a landscape. And speaking of plants, so I remember buying a bunch of these calatheas, these large calathea. This is a Calathea rospicta. This one is still for $18.88, but if you notice, They used to be very, very beautiful. They've had some really nice shine on the leaves, but you can see the leaves are now really crispy or starting to get crispy, browning. And, it's just sad because caletheas, I always wonder why caletheas are, produced as a house plant. Same thing with the geonanthus plant or the geo plant, that black plant that, Costa Farms has released. These are plants that are so challenging to grow long term. I just feel like that most of them will end up going to plant heaven. But as far as a plant that will not go to plant heaven, it's an easy to care for plant, $19.98, Aglaonema red Siam. You already know if it's going to be a grow folds, plant foldy video, I will find a way to show an Aglaonema because I have been extremely passionate about trying to influence people to buying Aglaonema. So Costa Farms, at least at Lowe's, has really released a lot of these Aglaonema varieties. I would say if you want an easy to care for plant and you trust my judgment in terms of recommendations, buy an Aglaonema. Leave in the comments if you've ended up buying one because of my recommendations and let me know how that goes for you. I think it's an easy to care for plant. Now over here we have a Croton Petra. These ones I believe are for $9.97. So a lot of these Crotons, there were so many varieties, so many to pick from, and now that November is here and Halloween is over and we're moving along the seasons very quickly, they have become more of a plant that's going to be on sale. Yucca plants, really like them as well. I just don't grow them because they take up a lot of space when they get a little bit larger. I'd rather choose like a Monstera deliciosa or a large foliage plant. And then you can see right here, we've got some Ficus elastica burgundy and then some more cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. So I'm just going to walk around and show you the foliage. Here we have seen some beautiful bird of paradise. Now bird of paradise, it is a plant that if you're going to grow it indoors, they can get large, but you're going to need to give it quite a bit of light. I would position a bird of paradise right next to a window, a south facing window or a west facing window to really provide it. And if you're able to grow your bird of paradise outdoors for a season, you're going to actually do much better than indoor spaces because bird of paradise, it's one of those plants that just really needs a lot of light. I would say growing a bird of paradise indoors, you will not really see blooms. It's really hard to get them to bloom indoors because of the amount of light it requires. It's really a tropical plant. Now, if you live out in Florida, I'm pretty sure that these can be like landscape plants. And again, that's the reason why a lot of these tropical indoor plants do best in climates like Florida, because that's really the natural environment. There is never really a plant that is known as an indoor plant. indoor plants are really just a concept where it has been able to get adapted into, but all of these plants are sourced out from an area where they get to grow outdoors. You know, there's not a plant that just magically appeared indoors. It just so happens that we've been able to find plant care tips and plant care that will be more conducive to growing a plant indoors. Like this Ficus lyrata, for instance, it's got to get a lot of light. Otherwise, it's not going to do well. It will actually drop its leaves. It's a finicky plant in that sense. I have one though that I've kind of neglected, and surprisingly, it's done well for me. But anyways, as far as all of the large plants at this Home Depot, I mean, I'm running out of options to show you. I really don't see the proven winners, Doc Block and Therium, but you know, I will continue to just look for it, and we'll see what that all looks like. If it's not at this big box store, I'm sure it's gonna pop up somewhere.
Blacking out the mirror where your light won't reflect it. All of the love from up above, we used to feel like a glove.
Plant Foldies, you can see we've got some gorgeous succulent plants right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up a couple of succulent plants. Really like the look of it. You know, and you can see that they just got a shipment in, and I always like going to a big box store whenever they have new shipments. It just makes it easy for me to shop, because I feel like plants are gonna be a little bit more fresh when you go to a big box store like Home Depot. You can see right here, this is that rainbow elephant bush. And so I'm just gonna pick up a couple of these hanging baskets. Again, Plant Foldies, let me know what you think about some of these plants right here. This is only for $12.98, which I think is a really good plant price.
Blacking out the mirror where your light won't reflect it. All of the love from up above, we used to feel like a glove.
And you can see they've got some starters here of some different types of succulents. I like this Kalanchoe. I like the fuzzy versions of it. Look at how cute that is. And you can just see we have many varieties to pick from. And unfortunately, that Home Depot, I was not able to find the proven winners. Anthurium, Doc Block. So I am just going to go to Kroger just to end my day off, just to see what plants they may potentially have at this Kroger. This Kroger is out in Frisco, Texas, right off of Custer Road in El Dorado. So, you know, this is one of the places that I have been able to find some pretty good plants for a really good cost-effective price. I love the new holiday plants that they're getting as well today. These are for $29.99. I like it. This is the Leland Cypress planter for $29.99. And you know, when I did go to the Home Depot earlier that day, I was really set on finding the proven winners, Doc Block and Therium, and I'm just a little slightly disappointed because it's one of those you know, things where I go plant hunting and I try to find them at big box stores. And again, for those that continue to tune into my videos, really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to tune in and actually show you a Doc Block and Therium. Hopefully it does show up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Leave in the comments, send me an Instagram message if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you find a Doc Block and Therium by proven winners at Home Depot. I'm sure it will pop up at some point. But you know, as far as this Kroger's, you know, if you ever go grocery store plant shopping, you're gonna find some pretty cost-effective plant pricing, like these mums right here. Gorgeous mums for $9.99. Really like the look of that as well. And then you can just see right over here we have even more mums to pick from. So I'm just gonna walk around and just show you a little bit at Kroger's. You know, I might be able to find something interesting to purchase. You know, I always always feel like I have to purchase plants at a big box store or a grocery store, especially Kroger, because they do have some amazing plants. Love their plant setup as well. These are super lush and healthy plants. And the one thing I will say about grocery store plants is they treat it like fresh produce. So if there's a plant that's not healthy, they will clearance it out and try to get it out. So that way they always have a fresh assortment of houseplants to pick from. So let's just admire how gorgeous these chrysanthemum are.
You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. Thinking about you.
That we have some Phalaenopsis orchids. Now these ones are dyed, so you can see that that's really not a real pink. Eventually when it reblooms, it'll probably be a white Phalaenopsis orchids. Again, Kroger's probably has the best variety of Phalaenopsis orchids alongside with Trader Joe's. I don't have a lot of Phalaenopsis orchids, but I do find this one really intriguing. I just wish that this would be a real color bloom, but these are also dyed. So what happens is that they actually get these Phalaenopsis orchids to soak up some dyed water, which actually dyes their leaves. I did it once as in elementary school, where we got some white carnations and we put them in water that was with food coloring, and eventually it actually dyed the actual petals. So I thought that was really interesting. But you can see here there are many types of Phalaenopsis orchids to pick from. These are all, I believe, for $19.99. This one actually has Phalaenopsis orchids with bromeliads. Really love the look of that as well. And I just really like the fact that this plant is readily available again at Kroger grocery store. So we're just going to keep walking around here. You know, I do love plant shopping at night just because there's not as many people. And can we talk about how gorgeous this peace lily is, or spathiphyllum? And guess what? It is only for $19.99. And again, it is all about getting that prices right. To me, if you want a large plant that's easy to care for, very low light tolerant, I would recommend getting a spathiphyllum or peace lily. I mean, let me know in the comments if you would agree. If you grow peace lilies, it is a very thirsty plant. It is a plant that I really love as well. And we're just going to keep walking around here, and you can see that there is a pineapple bromelia for $19.99. So this one is actually kind of expensive for a bromeliad, but needless to say, it's a super cute plant. Let me know in the comments if you have bromeliads. I just love the look of that as well. And I just love looking at all of these Phalaenopsis orchids. I mean, they just have beautiful blooms. And even take a look at that over there, all of the chrysanthemums and mums. And then now I'm going to just walk around to see what houseplants that they have available in the next table. everybody's favorite, it's the Hedera Helix. Really love the Hedera Helix, or English ivy. Absolutely stunning plant. It's just a plant that is a little bit more challenging to grow, and these are sourced up by Mason Farm. So you can see this one is for $9.99. For English ivy, I just say don't grow them as a house plant. Just grow them outdoors. They will do fine for you. If you try to grow them indoors, it's just really challenging. You already know that as gorgeous as these plants are, they are very much spider mite prone. You're also asking for more plant pests to make it into your plant collection, and you know how discouraging it is once you get a plant pest infestation. I just wouldn't recommend it. It's one of those situations where I just like to admire Hedera Helix at Kroger's or any other local nursery. But as you can see here, they do have a plethora of different types of English ivy. Like this one has some really nice variegation. I love English ivy. I've just sent 14 of them to Plant Heaven. I have one left, and it's one of those plants where I just need to make sure that I'm watering it consistently and it will do okay. I wouldn't say it's really thriving, but it's still gorgeous. I just love the variegation that it has as well. And I love this Costa Farms philodendron. This is for $14.99. This is the philodendron Birkin, and for some reason I've been getting into Birkin again, even though this is a common philodendron. I just love the white margins on the leaves. Now, not all philodendron Birkin are created equal. Some of them have higher variegation than others, although I've been told that this particular philodendron, the more light you give it, the better variegation it's going to get. And I've actually seen it with my philodendron Birkins. I had it right next to a grow light that pretty much stays on all the time, and the last few leaves literally were almost just pure white. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for the plant, since it's going to need some green, some chlorophyll to be able to photosynthesize. But $14.99, that is not a bad price at all for the philodendron Birkin. And then as far as just all of these house plants, again, if you're ever needing to do a late night plant shopping excursion, I would recommend going to Kroger grocery store, because I believe most of them are open till 1 a.m. A lot of the big box stores will close at 10, and I think Walmart closes at 11. So if I ever need to see plants, I will just need to be sure that the plants I go to like a Kroger grocery store. Like you can see, this is another Sansevieria Golden Flame. Beautiful plant. One that is for a beginner and easy care plant. One that I think everybody should add to their plant collection. I wouldn't add a Photonia necessarily, because as pretty as the color is, I love pink plants. This one needs to be watered more consistently. And I'm at the point now where I just don't water my plants as consistent. It's just a really challenging plant to grow for me long term. It might work for others. Sansevieria or snake plants are super easy. And then I'm just gonna keep pulling up some plants and showing you. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite, what plants you like, and if you ever buy at grocery stores like Kroger. And you can see right here, we've got an Aglaonema Silver Bay. Really like the look of that. And that one is also for $14.99. I never get tired of Aglaonemas. I think they're fabulous, and I think they are just fantabulous, and I just can't keep saying that they're fabulous, but they really are super easy plants. And I love the pink on this bromeliad, $14.99 as well.
All of the time we spent together, in our prime we were birds of a feather, different kind. We were laughing through the pain, you were never once so bad.
And when you talk about philodendron Birkins, or what they call white margin, this one doesn't have nearly as much variegation. So philodendron Birkin is not all created equal. Some of them are a little bit more variegated than others. And this one for $13.99 is a Calathea rospicta, beautiful plant, one that I cannot grow into my plant collection ever again, just because I've already sent it to Plant Heaven multiple times, and it was one of those plants that I've tried different substrates and it still just didn't work out for me. Ficus lyrata, or fiddle fig leaf, this one's for $19.99, so it's a little bit more pricey, at least for the size of the fiddle fig leaf. You can get like a full grown tree at that size, but if you want something small for a smaller space, I believe that this one would work. I just don't know about the actual plant pricing for it. And that's the thing about going big box store plant shopping or grocery store plant shopping. Compare the plant pricing, because not all plants are priced equally as well.
All of the time we spent together, in our prime we were birds of a feather, different kind. We were laughing through the pain, you were never once so bad. Cut the cord that kept us connected, blacking out the mirror where your light once reflected. All of the love from up above.
And I love the philodendron Birkin. Again, this one has some pretty good variegation. Just take a look at the white margins. I think it's stunning, and I think it's another plant that I feel like is underrated now. I don't think a lot of people are running to get a philodendron Birkin, but can you imagine one that's a really large size? It is somewhat of a climber as well, because it eventually will need some type of support system to keep it going. But as far as the margins, I'm just going to keep going in detail. Look at how gorgeous that is. And that's the thing, I have to kind of console myself, because I was really hoping that I would find the Proven Winners Dock Block Anthurium, but I just need to be thankful that I can at least go out and about and look at plants. I know that particular Proven Winners plant is going to eventually make it to the Dallas market, but sometimes you just really want that plant to make it. And I do believe that like the Dallas-Fort Worth area has a really good way of sourcing these plants to, the big box stores. So maybe the next week I'm going to keep trying to search for that. But for now, I'm just going to console myself and look at some pretty plants at Kroger. I mean, this is my go-to Kroger. I'm really based close to this one. So I'm always looking for plants like this Hoya carrii, $13.99. That's a really good plant price for it. And again, I say that Kroger has some good plant pricing. And if you catch them when they are trying to liquidate their plants, they are super cheap. I was able to get an Aglaonema, for instance, for $1.30. And that was actually a really good price. But I'm just going to keep picking up plants here. This one is really cool. Alocasia stingray, $13.99. And while it's not really a rare Alocasia anymore, it's still one that you don't commonly see. And this Alocasia can get fairly large. I just love that little tail at the bottom or the top of the leaf. Really nice looking plant. And it's another one that I would recommend if you want a more unique looking Alocasia, but I would still say it is a bit of a finicky plant. I would put it in semi-hydro like Lechuza Pon or Leca if you really want to grow it out a little bit more so. But it's a gorgeous Alocasia, and I'm just going to keep picking up some more plants to show you and then eventually end this video. plants I'm picking up are all sourced out from Mason Farms, which is actually in New Mexico. So it's a nursery out in New Mexico. Really like that. And you could see that this one though is $19.99 for this Aglaonema Silver Base. So even if you compare the Mason Farms one versus a Costa Farms one, they're the same size, but Costa Farms is $14.99. So even the plant pricing, there's a little bit of discrepancies on the range of how much a plant costs. And then also golden pothos for $19.99 in a 6-inch planter. I wouldn't buy it just because I can find that for $9.99 as well somewhere else. So comparing plant pricing as you go plant shopping is really key. I think it's important for us to be really cognizant of like what plant pricing we are finding at big box stores and grocery stores, because we don't all have dispensable income. And even if you did have dispensable income, I say always go with a budget, because it's always good to save money for the future. But as far as all of the plants here, I think they're beautiful. Calathea lancifolia, $19.99 as well. It's a beautiful plant, but again, it's one of those plants that I just cannot grow long term. I mean, let me know in the comments if you agree, if calatheas are challenging, but I like to admire them. I've started to realize that I can just have my own plant collection by doing window plant shopping, not necessarily buying the plant, because I just can't help that. It's such a beautiful plant, but for $19.99, knowing that I can send this to plant heaven, it is not my cup of tea. See right over here, I've just picked up so many beautiful plants. Look at this peperomia raindrop. I really like that as well for $19.99. So it's a little bit pricey. There is a little bit more pricey plants today at Kroger. I'm surprised, but overall, I think it's been a really good day, as far as just being able to look at plants. Hopefully you guys have all enjoyed my plant insights, my plant care tips. I know that you've asked me to give you a little bit more of the plant care tips as I talk about the plants. I am wanting to get that philodendron Birkin, but for now, let's just hit the like button for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Growfolds with all the notification bell on. This is Richie. I am going to find that anthurium soon. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in West Plano, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Growfold. That is the fastest way to get in touch with me directly if you have any questions about plants or just want to connect with me in general. So today is an early morning and I am on the hunt for that dock block Antheria Michelle that has supposedly made it to Home Depot. I've already made it to one Home Depot, actually 2 Home Depots, and haven't been able to find it. So this is the third one. I'm starting my morning off early to see if I can find it. So as you can see, whenever you go to Home Depot, they do have a lot of these poinsettias ready to go. So in addition to me plant hunting or looking for that dock block Anthurium, I am going to take you around to show you all of the plants that are available at big box stores, because it is my Growfolds channel, and you already know I'm going to talk to you about plants. I'm going to talk to you about plant care tips, plant pricing, ways to save money on plants, and anything else plant related. So if you did click on this video looking to see where that dock block Anthurium is, you're going to definitely have to watch this whole video through, because I'm telling you, what I discovered was absolutely amazing, and it is going to keep everybody excited in the fact that the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, is going to get the dock block Anthuriums. It has already hit the stores, and I am just going to take you along the journey on how I was looking for the dock block Anthurium Michelle. But for now, we are going to see if this particular Home Depot carries it. So the thing about the West Plano Home Depot right next to the Dallas North Tollway is this Home Depot is really housing a lot of beautiful plants, and you will see that in just a bit. But I did want to take a little bit of time to show you some of the Christmas trees and the Christmas tree pricing. I know that I've had a couple of plant foldies, and for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie, and they actually asked me to show some of the Christmas trees that are available to purchase at big box stores. So as you can see right here, they do have a grove of different types of Christmas trees with the Christmas lights already, which actually makes it a lot more convenient instead of having to actually put a bunch of Christmas lights on the Christmas tree. I know as a kid, we used to have to buy Christmas lights and kind of spin it around the Christmas tree. But now we have several Christmas trees that have built-in lights, which is really cool. And then you can see that there's just a lot of holiday decor available. All of these big fun statues that really celebrate the holidays. And the thing about the holidays, even though it is really the second week of November, third week is next week, and I cannot even believe that Thanksgiving is literally next Thursday. And also the fact that Black Friday sales. Can we talk about Black Friday sales? So if you also are in, work for retail, you already know that it's going to be a crazy time for you. So I did want to shout out anybody that works retail that we have your back, that we're hoping that you will have a smooth holiday season. And for those that are intending to do a lot of shopping at all of these big box stores for different types of gifts or anything holiday related, please remember to be patient, to be kind to the person behind the register, to the person behind the customer service area where you're doing your returns and exchanges. I just want everybody to be mindful that a lot of the people who work retail or are in these big box stores, they don't really get a holiday season. And, the least thing we can do as people that are consumers that go shopping is to be kind. I definitely want to preach that a little bit more, just because I feel like kindness is taken for granted. I don't think we see a lot of kind acts happening in general. And so as we go into the holiday season, I always tell people, instead of you complaining about why you had to wait in line a little bit longer, or instead of you complaining about, hey, I didn't get this certain toy, or better yet, that certain plant you were looking for, let's not blame it on the workers that actually work at a big box store. Let's make sure that we, exercise patience and really celebrate the true essence of the holiday season. So let me get off my soapbox. And I already know most of you guys will see that I tend to get off topic of some of these plants, the actual plant content, but I do utilize a lot of these plant shopping videos as a personal type of blog as well, for me to just give you insight. So you will see me go back and forth about the plants, the plant care, and what I'm seeing in general at these big box stores. So let's go back to the plants. As you can see right here, they already had a big fixture of Epipremnum aureum, golden pothos, or just pothos plants in general. What I do like about this particular Home Depot in West Plano, it's really close to the Dallas North Tollway, is the fact that it is one of the most full big box stores at Home Depot, which means if we are looking for the elusive, trending Dock Block Anthurium by Proven Winners, this is a high potential that we will probably find it at this store. I've seen a lot of Proven Winner leaf joy plants in general. I've actually purchased some where they were 50% off. So I'm pretty confident that we'll find it. Or if I don't find it here, there is another location that I intend to do. I'm just gonna make it a whole day of plant hunting. So I suppose, my channel is kind of evolving from just me going big box or plant shopping to the Plant Hunter series, where I'm looking for the newest releases, whether it's by Proven Winners, Costa Farms, Urban Jungle, Live Trends Plants, all of those different types of releases. And I do love the fact that a lot of these nurseries are now providing a little bit more trending plants. I mean, the fact that Proven Winners was able to get the Dock Block anthuriums that is amazing. And the fact that these anthuriums in general, and we're not talking about that blooming anthurium you will see at any big box store or grocery store. We're talking about those legit anthuriums that people have to have high humidity, have to put them in semi-hydro substrates to keep them in cabinets to make sure that they have the that humidity level. Those are the types of anthuriums that are now starting to make it into big box stores. And I have to hand it to Proven Winners. Proven Winners plants, typically they're known mostly for like outdoor gardening plants, but ever since they started really releasing indoor tropical plants, I just feel like their brand has really elevated to more diversity. I think that there's a little bit more of a niche. I mean, I know that a lot of us may actually watch this plant shopping video YouTube channel of mine to look for these indoor tropical plants, but there are people like myself that love landscaping, love outdoor gardens, love flower beds, love anything related to outdoor plants. And sometimes, there's a difference between maybe the Gen Z population where we're really looking for more of the indoor tropical aeroids, things of that nature. But as you can see right here, I'm still searching high and low for those anthurium Doc Block Michelles or Doc Block Michelle anthuriums. You can see though, there is a huge forest of poinsettias, like literally racks and racks of poinsettias. Maybe I'll find a Doc Block Anthurium Michelle, hidden underneath one of these poinsettias. But let me know in the comments section if you actually grow poinsettias past the holiday season. So that's another topic I did want to talk about alongside, searching for the Doc Block Anthurium by Proven Winners is seasonal plants. So last month we actually saw a bunch of crotons, specifically Croton petras, in the market at a big box store. Now we're seeing literally rows and rows of poinsettias. Here's the thing about poinsettias. They are actually native to Mexico, and the climate in Mexico is definitely not a place where you're gonna just get cold, freezing weather like that. And so my thing is, how do these plants, these poinsettias, become seasonal plants? Like, how do they become synonymous to Christmas? Now, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's a history lesson that I may not have paid attention to it when I was in school, but I'm really curious. And for those that have any type of insight about poinsettias and how they became a holiday Christmas type plant, please leave that in the comments. And if you made it this far into the video and haven't swiped away, clicked away because you haven't seen the Doc Block Anthurium Michelle, thank you. And please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I am working super hard to just get you all the plant content on a daily basis. And when you hit the like button for this video, which is simply just a very easy thing to do for my YouTube videos, it definitely helps push this content out, this plant content out to more plant lovers like yourself. I definitely have this goal of trying to get to 12,000 Plantfoldy subscribers by the end of December. And just by hitting the like button, just by leaving comments, sharing these videos on your social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook, it really helps me out and it just makes it more fun. I feel like we have more chatter in the live premiere chats. We get more commentary. So we have that open dialogue about plants and, the community as far as like the Plantfoldy Grow Folds community, meeting some of you guys in person. And I know that I also am elusive. I have been dubbed as the Sia of the plant YouTube world, where I don't really reveal my face. I have had so much fun meeting some of you Plantfoldies in person at some of these, plant shows like the Texas Aeroid Show, as well as PlantCon, which both shows I do intend to actually attend and film and get a lot of content for you in 2025. So stay tuned for that. But as you can see right here, I do love the fact that they have at least really nice colors. This is for $22.98. You see that we've got some poinsettias with different colors, and we also have some it's not Phoetonias. It's another, a polka dot plant, a darker version of the polka dot plant. Love that as well. Now, I just feel like those plants are going to just be grown for the holiday season. And when you think about the holiday season, you think of 6 weeks in the year, starting the third week of November all the way to Christmas Eve is when really the holiday season happens. And that's when a lot of these poinsettias and seasonal plants become a little bit more relevant for the general public, or at least that's when people are picking these plants up. I have conflicting ideas or thoughts about, these seasonal plants. Like if you see this, you see that there are rows and rows of poinsettias. Now I ask anybody who actually clicked on this video and has given me the time to just listen to my thoughts. Now, if we've got all of these poinsettias, right over here at this big box store, how many of these poinsettias will actually last longer than maybe 2 weeks into the holiday season? Or how many of them will actually make it past December? Leave it in the comments. And then when you think about that, you got to think about all the plastic that was utilized to grow the plant, how much water and resources and energy it was to actually grow out those poinsettias. And what does that really look like long-term for plant sustainability? As I do these big box store plant shopping videos, or just even plant content or plant commentary in general, I'm always around plants every single day. I try to go to a big box store, a local nursery, and see these plants. And whenever I pick up a plant as beautiful as these kalanchoe, for instance, I always wonder, how much of a carbon footprint actually is left by these plants. And I know that that's like a hot debate. Some people feel like, these plants are more wasteful to the environment versus actually helping the environment out. I'm not saying that we all have to be environmentalists, but I do think that there is a lot of wasted plants that end up going to plant heaven due to the fact that we don't have nearly as many consumers buying these plants. Or better yet, maybe some nurseries are overproducing plants that don't sell. Like for instance, I've seen a lot of these Hoya carnosas, for instance. Those are Vigoro Hoya carnosas for $19.98. And I do love the fact that they have hanging baskets. But then again, as I've been going around Home Depots and looking for that dock block Antheria Michelle by Proven Winners, I am just also thinking about just how gorgeous these regular pothos plants are, how highly underrated they are. You don't have people running to big box stores looking for a pothos plant. But the thing about it is, a pothos plant like this Marble Queen pothos versus the dock block Antheria Michelle, the care and the amount of effort you have to put is like night and day. This beautiful plant can be just as beautiful, just as sought after as the dock block Antheria Michelle by Proven Winners, but it's just the hype. And I know that I'm feeding into the hype about just going around these big box stores and trying to find the dock block Anthurium, but at the same time, what if we actually cause more clamor by these plants? Like for instance, this Pilea peperomoides, or the Chinese money tree plant, or also known as a UFO plant. This particular plant actually was very expensive about 5 years ago. It was literally the it plant. And with anthuriums really booming the last couple years with all of these different types of hybrids, I just feel like the value of a plant is really dictated by, number one, social media presence, number two, the price tag that is placed on the plant, and number three, definitely refers back to social media. So, a lot of people are going for after the dock block Antheria Michelle, for instance, because it's that new trending plant that we're seeing on Instagram or on Facebook. But how many of us are actually wanting to grow the dock block Antheria Michelle long term? I mean, I've met some people who really love, anthuriums. I think it's amazing. I think it's more of a challenging plant. I would not necessarily recommend it for the general public to just try to grow an anthurium in your space, because when you think about anthuriums, you need to provide anthuriums with really good humidity, number one. Number two, the lighting conditions need to be there. The climate or the temperatures need to be a little bit higher. And there's just a whole plethora of care versus maybe picking up a pothos plant or even these bromeliads, for instance. And I do like the fact that it's nice and bright. And this is the reason why I love filming and going to big box stores in the morning. If I could just do this every day, it would just be amazing. But as you can see here, plant foldies, I am just enjoying picking up these plants. I haven't seen any Proven Winner dock block anthuriums, but if you feel like that you've already given up on me on this video, I say stay tuned and make sure you watch this video in its entirety, because you will also find out potentially, I'm not going to reveal all of the secrets of the Doc Block, Anthurium, Michelle, where to find them in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because clearly this week, as this video has premiered, Doc Block, Anthurium, Michelle has made it to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, I know that a lot of people have already reported that they were on the West Coast, the East Coast. They are now making it down to the South. And I will tell you, the excitement of just, I guess, being able to find the plant, as I walk through these poinsettias, trying to look for it. I mean, you can see right here, this is a really full Home Depot. A lot of people have left in the comments that the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or at least the ones in North Dallas, have really good big box stores. And I'm very fortunate that I live in an area where there's just many different big box stores readily available to fill my plant needs. And I mean, even this. So like, as I'm looking for that Doc Block, Anthurium, Michelle by Proven Winners, you can see that I can still find gorgeous Hoya carnosas, for instance. This is only for $14.98. These are by Vigoro Plants. And the thing about these Hoya carnosa is you can see that it's variegated. It's highly variegated, but now that it's become such a common plant that you can find at a big box store, there's not really an element of, or some type of allure to really draw you in to want to buy the plant because they're so readily available. And as I have gone to already 2 Home Depot searching for the Doc Block Michelle and Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners, I started to think that me going to these big box stores, me trying to share that plant content to you is really feeding into the social media hype about the plant. I will say anthuriums are gorgeous. This year, I've been actually able to grow anthuriums. I have an Anthurium magnificum that I've had for a couple years growing in soil, but ever since I put it in a semi-hydro substrate called Lechuza Pond, it has really upped its leaf size and it's just grown for me a lot easier versus trying to grow them in soil substrates. Now, if you're going to grow an anthurium in soil substrate, they do prefer more chunky soil mixes just because in Mother Nature, they're actually more of an understory plant. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that there are some people who are like watching my video probably for the first time looking for that Doc Block Anthurium. I would love for you to give me some plant insights about that because I don't claim to be an expert. Honestly, a lot of my plant knowledge has really been taught by my grandmother and for just decades and experience of just growing plants in general. If you ask me why I grow plants, and it's really because plants give me a routine. Plants help with my mental health, to de-stress me, and they're just gorgeous. And I just feel like as plants have become more of a niche collector's type plant, sometimes the fun of just growing, a golden pothos like this to a really nice size, it kind of becomes negated because it's not one of those niche plants like the Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. And that's probably why I'm doing a lot of commentary, because I'm hoping that if this video does get pushed, it will actually have people really think about your intentions and why you buy plants. Why do you buy plants? Why do we go after these more rare and uncommon plants, especially when they hit the big box stores? It's just an interesting concept. It's a concept that I feel like for a business model, I feel like if a certain nursery maybe releases a plant that's not readily available, and maybe a social media plant influencer puts it on social media, then it becomes the it plant. But for me, if you're gonna ask me whether I prefer an Aglaonema versus an Anthurium, you already know I'm going to pick an Aglaonema. And no offense to all of the people who like to grow Anthuriums that go crazy over hybridizing them and growing them from seeds. Please look at the Aglaonema, especially the ones that come from Indonesia. I'm telling you, the US market is not exposed to enough of those beautiful plants. And the difference between an Anthurium versus, say, an Aglaonema is in Anthurium, you have to force yourself to really give its environment, requirements. My family is originally from the Philippines, and I say that in all my videos because I am a proud Filipino. I feel like, Filipinos need to be represented documented a little bit more, especially in social media in terms of just plants. I think that there are a lot of Filipino YouTubers or content creators, but mostly are from the Philippines. And so for me talking about the Philippines, for instance, and I'm going back, I know I'm picking up a bunch of plants. I'm hoping you're enjoying all of these gorgeous pothos. As you can tell, I am being intentional about showing you the plants I feel like could influence you to the right direction or a more open direction to plant collecting. But anyways, I digress. What I'm trying to say is, if I were to pick between an Aglaonema, which most people overlook and find as just a basic plant, versus say the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, the difference is that anthurium needs higher humidity levels. They need even quality water. Sometimes you can't just water an anthurium with tap water. Then you also have to worry about a specific substrate. Most people have to keep anthuriums in a cabinet. A humidifier has to be next to it. You've got to put a fan. But then when you go to a Southeast Asian country like the Philippines, or even in South America, where those environments are ideal, that's how you're able to grow it. And I always ask people, is it because the love for the particular plant that you're really trying to emulate and actually working 10 times harder to keep a plant alive versus maybe an Aglaonema that is low light tolerant and drought tolerant? And I know that I'm spending a lot of time really talking about some of these plant insights that I've been thinking about as I am searching around this big box store for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. I just feel like this is a good platform to really have that open discussion about why we gravitate to certain plants. And so for my new viewers that potentially clicked on this video because you're searching for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, I do ask in the comment section, if you are hoping to just get, that information about the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. I'm just curious what it is that draws us to that particular plant or anthuriums in general. Mind you, I don't want people thinking that I am talking negative about anthuriums. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that Proven Winners has actually released a legitimate anthurium, and that anthurium is a Dock Block Michelle, because that is something that is really challenging to find for the general public. And even though it is tissue cultured, so it's not really the real plant. I mean, there's some debate about tissue culture plants. What I will say about tissue culture plants is at least it has made things more evenly, the even playing field. It's easier for people to get some of the plants that more niche collectors with money can afford versus maybe the person that doesn't really have that big of a plant budget. And so that's just some of my insights. But as you can see right here, I am just walking around, not only admiring the plants, but also baffled at the fact that, that is a lot of poinsettias. Let me know in the comments if you feel like that is a lot of poinsettias. I feel like that is almost overkill. And then for me, how much of those poinsettias are actually going to sell? I know that there is a pretty good demand for poinsettias, but that's just crazy. And I'm talking about Aglaonema. Look at this. And then this is what happens at big box stores. You see that there's not a drainage hole there. And so they're sitting in water. And, that's part of my Good Samaritan, plant savior routines whenever I go to a big box store is I literally dump all the water out so that plant doesn't sit in water. Because especially for that Aglaonema red cyan, which is very close to my heart, which I still feel like everybody watching this video, if you've seen this video and you already know, we should all add that Aglaonema red cyan. It's almost like a satire for me. Like, I really just want to keep talking about these like underrated plants to maybe get some like clamor, maybe get people excited, maybe get people running all over, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, for instance. I've already talked to several people that are literally going to more big box stores than myself. Seriously though, I have only been doing the search for the Dock Block Anthurium Michelles because number one, I've had a lot of plant folies asking me to do that. Number two, I'm already in a big box store. So if I'm in a big box store, I might as well try to find that big box store new release plant. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but there are some people who are really seeking out for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. And again, it's such a gorgeous plant, but it's one of those plants that, are we truly prepared to grow it? are we able to provide it that natural environment? Like these right here, this philodendron moonlight right here for $19.98, there's actually 2 plants in there. I would even recommend a plant like that if you're going to grow a plant. You know, a lot of philodendron, except for the more velvety textured philodendron, are pretty easy to take care of. And you know, when I think about big box stores and the plants that they actually provide, I think about easy to care for plants. There is this, you know, this term about a plant being basic, but you know, whenever you think about problem solving or finding a solution, what is the first thing that people say? Go back to the basics. So for anybody that's actually struggling with their plants, I want you to think about, what is it that you're struggling with? Is it time management? Is it the environment, your lighting condition, your daily personal life routines? What is it that actually has you struggling with your plants? For me, it's really just inundating myself with more than 100 houseplants that I shouldn't really be adding into my plant collection. And I always say it's easier to give advice, but it's harder to follow one's own advice. Sometimes we have to hear it from somebody else for it to really manifest and actually become routine for us. But you know, as far as this plant right here, look at this. Proven Winners has also released a beautiful philodendron white knight. And you know what? A lot of people would be into this plant because it's got that white variegation. Love it. I'm actually tempted to purchase that just because of the variegation. And you know, it's like me. It's not that I don't like variegated plants. It's not that I don't like those very hard to find niche plants. I'm a collector just like y'all. But my thing about it is, I have started to realize that sometimes those collector plants, it becomes a fad. It becomes one of those situations where there's such a demand for the plant, and then once that plant loses its clamor, what happens to the plant? And I'm going to use this as an example. Monstera Thai constellations 3 to 4 years ago were highly sought after. And when they started making it to big box stores, like even this year at Kroger Grocery, I was able to find it for $29.99. But now whenever you see a Monstera Thai constellation, people are a little bit more immune. There's not a big desire for the plant per se, but at the same time, it's still that gorgeous plant with a really stable variegation that's never going to revert for you. That's going to still be easy to take care of, even though in its infant stages, it's more susceptible to root rot. That's kind of like my summary of the Monstera Thai constellation. So I'm just trying to understand, is it because a plant becomes so commonly readily available that there's not a desire to seek out something? Is it just basic economy where if there is less of a supply but a higher demand, that really elevates the plant's position? Because right now, as I'm walking around Home Depot showing you all of these gorgeous plants, like this one right here, this is a gorgeous Hawaiian tea plant. You already know, as far as Hawaiian tea plant, that is a plant that is not really recommended to grow indoors because it is a little bit more susceptible to spider mites. But if you are able to grow it outdoors, it definitely will thrive. I know in the Philippines, those just grow out in full sun all year round, and there's not an issue about it. And it's just really baffling because I actually took a vacation to the Philippines back in August, and just seeing all of the plants that we go crazy over, like especially those alocasias. I even saw like variegated alocasia just growing out on the sides of the road, and people were not really going crazy over it versus people over in, at least in the United States, where people are willing to spend $400, $500 for a variegated alocasia, or maybe $100 for like a variegated alocasia corm. Needless to say, I guess a lot of this video today is just a lot of my plant commentary and insights, because I've found myself going to many Home Depots. So this is the third one where I'm looking for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners, but so far I haven't really had a luck. But you know what, I am lucky in the fact that I'm still surrounded by so many gorgeous plants. I mean, you can see right here, this large alocasia is an Alocasia Regal Shields, and the thing about this Alocasia Regal Shields, look at how metallic the leaves are. The problem about that is I just don't know if that can actually grow indoors long term with that size without it really getting spider mites. That's really the question on a lot of these alocasias. I have been able to grow alocasias a little bit easier because of the substrate I'm growing them in. I have really converted a lot of my plants that are in soil to a semi-hydro substrate, either lechuza pond, which is my favorite, or a more cost-effective hydroponic or semi-hydro substrate called leca. And it's just made the cure easier because you have a water reservoir and the water kind of uptakes into the plant. You don't have to worry about root rot because there's a lot of aeration within the substrate, and it has just made it easier. And now I'm pulling up this Croton petra right here. Gorgeous plant. In the Philippines, these become full-blown trees. But these plants, you either love them or hate them. I absolutely love them. I think everybody should be into them. But you can see that this plant was really a seasonal fall plant, even though that actual plant actually grows native to a Southeast Asian country like the Philippines, where it's humid environment versus, fall season where it gets colder, the days are shorter, there's not much light. And, with the Croton, it needs more light. And that's the thing. So all of those crotons that we saw last month have either become 50% off, or a lot of them have either become compost and made it to plant heaven. Now it's the poinsettia's turn, and the mums, the chrysanthemums. And that's why I'm just spending a lot more time, at least in this video today, just to give you my insights. I've been thinking about this for quite some time. And for those that are still watching this video and giving me the time to just listen to my insights, I really appreciate you. A lot of our plant content that we find either on social media, it's really all about that it plant, how we're displaying our collections, how things look, what does, how much one plant costs. But we don't always just take it back to the basics about, wow, that new, pothos plant was able to grow a new leaf that unfurled, or I was able to propagate a cutting from that particular philodendron and I was able to share it with somebody. Sometimes we just get caught on to actually, searching for these rare type plants, and then we just forget some of the basics about why we like plants in general. I mean, mind you, again, I know that I probably sound like I'm just, kind of gaslighting the fact that we are, searching for that Doc Block Anthurium Michelle. It's not the case. I think it's amazing. I hope that whoever is looking for that Doc Block Anthurium, you're able to find it. You're able to find a really good quality. And I can't say nothing but great things about Proven Winners, because Proven Winner houseplants, I have been able to capture a lot of really nice Hoyas, a lot of different types of philodendrons. Like I've gotten me a philodendron gloriosum that I wasn't able to get until Proven Winners has made it more of a viable and more cost-effective plant. So I thought that was really cool, and I hope that Proven Winners continues to do that, because as nurseries like Proven Winners, Costa Farms becomes makes plants more readily available to the masses, then plant pricing goes down, then the trends become less of a trend, and it becomes more of whether you truly love the plant because that's the kind of plant you want in your plant collection, versus maybe finding a plant and trying to resell it. The amount of resellers that I feel like would try to get that Anthurium Doc Block Anthurium Michelle, it's going to be crazy. And I hope that if you do find it, and I'm hoping that I find it at this Home Depot, that people realize that there's probably somebody out there who really loves anthuriums and really just wants it for their collection because they've been looking for a pretty good size. And I think that's the allure about trying to find that Doc Block Anthurium by Proven Winners, is the fact that all of the pictures that we've seen, they were a really good size for the amount of money you're spending for the plant. I mean, the plant is about $95 is what I've been told, but you're getting a really good quality plant. But as you can see here, I'm just picking up more plants. So as I'm walking around looking for any signs of Proven Winner Doc Block Anthuriums, you can see that we still have the quintessential Ficus lyrata, and this Ficus lyrata is really cool because that is another plant that I would say about before the pandemic, right? Before the pandemic in 2020, this was also the it plant. Everybody had to get a Ficus lyrata because it was on, interior design magazines and, all of the rave. But then when you start to think about how challenging of a plant it is to grow, then it has become less of a plant that people desired. Since, there was such a clamor around the Ficus lyrata because it was such a Very stylish plant to put in an interior, but now it's kind of lost its glamour a little bit. So, if you are, listening to my insights, please leave it in the comments if you kind of agree or what you think about the fiddle fig leaf tree or the Ficus lyrata. But I will tell you, these Aglaonemas, and these are nice size Aglaonemas for $29.98. Silver Bay Aglaonema, look at that silver foliage. Not only is it a cost-effective plant, not only does it have that beautiful silver tone, if you have a darker space in your home or you don't have the best lighting condition, and I would assume that a lot of us who grow plants don't have the best lighting conditions, this plant can actually grow for you. This plant can actually bring you a lot of joy. This plant can, propagate itself to where you can share it with other people, but we're not running around looking for an Aglaonema Silver Bay. I've gone to like a lot of plant shows this year, and I don't really see that clamor for these plants. Again, maybe it's because they are readily available, but I don't really see a lot of people talking about Aglaonemas. Now, my really good friends, Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants, we are creating a plant podcast called The Cultivation Corner. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a really fun show. Season 1 is about to premiere first week of December. So if you haven't already, please make sure you are following us on Instagram at The Cultivation Corner, as well as actually subscribing to our official YouTube channel, The Cultivation Corner, because it's going to have a lot of the same things that I'm talking about right now. Is a lot of the plant insights, plant commentary, plant care tips, everything that you might potentially want for a plant podcast or a plant show. So super excited about that. But to go back to Janae and Steven, we all love Aglaonemas. We all would love just an Aglaonema Silver Bay. We all have anthuriums. I know I have a couple, but if you had to ask us between whether we would choose an Aglaonema or a anthurium, we would always choose an Aglaonema. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's the truth. And that's the thing about this whole searching for the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. I just hope that I could find it so that way I can steer a lot of people that are looking for that particular plant as a plant that you could add to your plant collection. I've met a lot of people who are really into anthuriums, and if you ever go to Steve's Leaves Nursery, or if you're able to at least see Steve's Leaves inventory, they have so many amazing anthuriums, and I could see the passion behind it. There's even people out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like for instance, Caleb's Tropicals. Definitely check out his Etsy. He actually hybridizes his own anthuriums. I know that he's looking for a Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, and hopefully he's able to find it. But those are the types of people that I know have a specific passion for those anthuriums. I just feel like some people are in it for the wrong reasons, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole reselling stuff, hoarding plants to upsell it, I just don't think it's the most ethical or appropriate way to go about growing plants in general. I don't think it's the most positive way to really uplift and actually make the plant community even more open and positive when we're going to price gouge or scrap for that. So I don't know. We're going to see. I'm going to see what that looks like. I already know that Proven Winners Leaf Joy on Instagram announced that they are pushing these trucks out to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or at least Texas in general. And we're going to find out. And I'm telling you, if you've already made it this far and you've been watching me and listening to me just kind of talk about all sorts of things about plants, thank you again, but definitely wait till the very end of this video. You will be surprised about some of the things I find today. But this one, I'm definitely going to buy. So I am starting to think that maybe the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners is not at this Home Depot, but there is another one I'm going to revisit. But you can see here, this is a Dracaena. It's called a Cordyline, but it's actually a Dracaena, and it's a really good size for only $19.98. So backtrack to my personal collection. I actually bought a Dieffenbachia Sublime for $39 at a local nursery called Callaway's. The problem is, after having it for about a month, it started to drop its leaves. It just didn't have enough light, and it's just not doing well in my environment. And the crazy thing is, I already knew growing a Dieffenbachia, especially that size in an indoor space, wasn't going to work out for me long term, but I still tried to make it work. And sometimes when you try to make it work with the plant's going to tell you it's not going to work. But that Dracaena, it's another plant that's definitely not something that everybody's, running around to look for, but it is one of those plants that is cost effective. It's low light tolerant, it's drought tolerant, it's readily available. The growth is pretty consistent, and it's an easy plant. Same thing with this philodendron. Like, look at this philodendron Rojo Congo. Really nice size plant, but it's one of those things where we're not looking for that particular plant. We're looking for the more niche plants. But I think the reason why plants are niche is because you got me trying to hype up everybody. Like, I am part of the, I guess I wouldn't even say problem. I am just part of the fueling, the fuel, the gas that actually gets people all about trying to find that dock block anthurium by proven winners. And it's one of those things where I think it's kind of like a catch-21 or like a cycle where we're just looking for those plants. So, but as far as the plants at this Home Depot, you can see that they do have a bunch of cactus and succulents, and that's another thing. If I didn't even realize that there are some succulents and cactus that are really expensive and super rare. And I guess for the succulents and cactus collectors, I'm pretty sure y'all know which ones those are. But again, it goes back to the whole demand for a particular plant. When there is some excitement, when there is some discussion, when there is some viral TikTok video talking about a plant, everybody wants it. And I don't know, maybe I'm just really in my feelings today because I've caught myself going to two Home Depots looking for this dock block anthurium, which I haven't successfully found. I'm here on my third one. And the reason why I am trying to get a dock block anthurium, Michelle, is because I do have a really good friend that wants to get a dock block anthurium. And even though it's a tissue culture one and it's not necessarily, some people think that tissue culture plants aren't real plants. I still think they are real plants. They've always wanted one. So for my friend, I want to just gift that as a gift for the holidays. And hopefully I'm able to find it because it's a really good sized plant and it's a pretty good plant. But some people even say that the price that you're paying for that dock block anthurium, Michelle, you could probably get for a better deal. I don't know the plant pricing for a lot of anthuriums. I do know that, the anthuriums that I've gotten from Green Spaces ID, for instance, it's an Indonesian seller. I've been able to get for a really cost-effective plant pricing, and they've been growing very well for me over there. But as you can see right here, I am now at the Proven Winners table. So Proven Winners definitely has a lot of these different types of plants. You can see here the plant IDs, and these are only for $5.98. Love the starter plants. I think if you're going to ask me what starter plants I find really cost effective, and it would definitely be the Hoyas that Proven Winners has really released. I have collected a lot of those Hoyas because number one, Hoyas are, I can understand why people love Hoyas. Like, there's literally a whole world of Hoyas that we haven't even tapped into. And there's some really expensive Hoyas. Like, literally a cutting could cost you like $300, $400. It's kind of insane. But that goes to show that some people really have that passion. If you're really a collector, that kind of drives the prices. But for those that aren't like huge collectors, for those like myself, I really collect plants because I like a specific way the plant grows, maybe the color, maybe just the growth or the propagation potential. That's what really excites me when growing plants. And then I just like seeing, just basic growth from a plant. And sometimes you don't really get that from some of the more challenging niche plants that we are, seeking. Now, these Proven Winner Leaf Joy bowls right here, these are basically growing these plants in straight hydroponics or straight water. These are 50% off, and I actually like this particular Syngonium right here. I like the narrow shaped leaves, and with Syngoniums, I used to say they're easy to care for plants. But as I've really thought about the care tips for Syngoniums, the one thing that doesn't make Syngoniums easy to care is, number one, they're actually more susceptible to pests than you actually think, and they become more susceptible to pests when you really don't water them consistently. Like, I've noticed that if I don't water a Syngonium and it gets droopy and I let it stay dry, it starts to get yellowing leaves. The leaves start to invite spider mites, more so maybe mealybugs, and then it just becomes an uphill battle to try to get that plant to come back to its former glory. But as far as these Syngoniums right here, I would buy the Leaf Joy series by Proven Winners, since it is only $10 for this. And instead of growing them in straight hydroponics, because I do feel like hydroponics, it is a little bit challenging because you have to actually make sure that you're giving the plant the right plant nutrients to go to do well. I would rather just put them in Lechuzapon, although Lechuzapon, as of this video's airing, is actually out of stock on Amazon, or growing them in leca. You know, a semi-hydro substrate is going to make it a lot easier for some of these syngoniums. You know, care tips for syngoniums, again, bright indirect light, water consistently. I would say let the soil dry out about 60% and water them again. Pothos, I wouldn't really spend $10 for the pothos because I feel like I can make my own pothos cuttings. That's just me being honest. But you know, like calathea, this calathea right here, look at how vibrant the roots are. But you can see there is a little bit crisping on the leaves. Beautiful foliage, but for me, I wouldn't recommend growing a calathea in a collection where you don't have the best humidity levels. More so the time to really inspect and make sure you stay on top of the plant's care needs. You know, you can see right here, this is one that's growing in straight water, and you can see that even the leaves are curling. There is a little bit of cosmetic damage for these plants. And you know, I think about a lot of these calatheas, these Leaf Joy H2O bowls, how much of it actually sells through. I know I bought one that was a philodendron Birkin that was on sale, and it's doing very well for me. But as far as the calatheas, you would think that they would do very well since you don't have to water them. They're already sitting in water. But I've realized that even growing a calathea in straight hydroponics is not the best way to go about growing a calathea. I say this in all my videos, but I am curious to see how many people have been able to grow a calathea long term for more than a year. Leave that in the comments. Let me know what your plant care tips, what your environment for the plant is, because it is a mystery to me. I don't know if the plant just doesn't love me in general. I do love this plant right here by Proven Winners. This is a Tradescanthia Feeling Flirty, and you know, Proven Winners, they can pretty much rename the plant the way they want to because they've had some really interesting names. But I am glad that they are maintaining that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. That is such a beautiful anthurium, and I am still looking for it. I know that I've been talking to you. I've been talking to you a lot about just my plant insights, but as you can see right here, this type of video today is really about plant insights and the search for the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. I am determined to find it. I am determined to find it because I want to gift it to a friend. And then for those that love anthuriums and everybody's going crazy on social media, oh my gosh, I gotta find it. I'm gonna hopefully try to find it and steer you in the direction for it. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you're a plant collector, you love plants, please subscribe to my YouTube channel because number one, you will always be informed with what plants are coming into the Dallas market. And then number two, as far as plant pricing, you can see that on the screen, or I will typically tell you what is cost effective, where you can get a better deal. So subscribe to my channel if you like, with the notification bell on. And for those that are still subscribed to my channel and haven't checked, could you check if you have all the notification bell on? Usually when you subscribe to YouTube, it'll just make it personalized notifications, but do all notifications because I'm always posting things like shorts videos, community posts, and just things of that nature, so you'll stay in tune with the community. But you can see here, I am looking at these Ficus elastica by Proven Winners, and you can see this is a gorgeous looking philodendron golden crocodile. And you can see right here, there is a half moon leaf, or it's green. That's really cool. I really like the look of that. Now again, with the philodendron golden crocodile, and this one is for $19.98. This is a plant or a philodendron. You know, all of the yellow neon colored plants, you always want to give it the most bright indirect light for it to really maintain its color, that yellow color. And you can see just right here, that is such a cool looking half moon leaf for this philodendron. It is actually an easy to care for plant as well. You would be surprised, but it is one of those cool plants. I love philodendrons, especially the serrated series like that. I am trying to collect that because I do like the serrated look of the leaves. Ficus elastica ruby, or they call this Belize, I believe, by Proven Winners, $19.98. It's a pretty easy plant if you can provide it with enough light. If you're able to provide it bright light, it will do very well for you. I would always say if you're going to grow these Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants, try to grow them outdoors in a lot of light, maybe even full sun. You just got to acclimate it because you're going to get a lot more size for it. In the Philippines, for instance, I saw some of these rubber tree plants literally 25 to 30 feet tall growing in full sun. Just imagine seeing a Ficus taniki that size. I thought it was breathtaking. I thought it was amazing. And you could just see that these are real legit trees. Now, as far as the Dock Block Anthurium by Proven Winners, I haven't found it. And the thing about it is, whenever you're going to a big box store, sometimes these plants that are newly released are either in some very discreet place or not really displayed in an area you would think they would be, like front and center. So don't give up on me just yet, because if I can't find it at this Home Depot, I'm definitely going to go to another Home Depot. You know, the cool thing about the Grow Folds channel is I have a lot of plant friends I've met throughout, the couple months I've been doing plant shopping videos. I love that you guys will send me pictures of the plants you're seeing at big box stores and kind of directing me where I need to. I have a couple of leads of the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, and so this is one of the Home Depots that I just went about because I know that this Home Depot keeps its plants full. And whenever you have really healthy looking plants like these, you can see these are all Proven Winner Ficus, for instance. I think typically this particular Home Depot or this big box store would probably get those new shipments of plants. I also was told by some sources that Proven Winners has a bunch of new plants that are going to enter the market aside from just the Dock Block Anthurium, which makes it a great time to release plants because it is the holiday season. I think within 5 weeks we're going to be in Christmas, and if anybody's asking me what kind of presents I prefer definitely your viewership. I prefer definitely for you to hit the like button. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button for this video, commentary, and just engagement with me. But if, I tell my friends and family that, see me on a daily basis or just in my everyday personal life, give me some gift cards from Home Depot, Lowe's. Those big box stores I am all about, because guess what? Those gift cards are going to help fund my plant obsession as well. Like, I literally am addicted to buying plants, and it's not necessarily just because of a collector plant. It's literally because I feel like I have to have every single one. And that's really shouldn't never be the case, right? As much as I want to get those philodendron moonlights, those really bright looking philodendron, I know that if I don't have the space, nor do I have the time to really take care of them, is it really going to make it an intentional, meaningful plant collection? And I do ask anybody who's still listening to my plant insights, as I'm looking for the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, what your thoughts are about having many plants. Do you feel like having less plants but having more time, less plants and having really nice curated healthy looking plants versus having over 100 plants and having to struggle to take care of them? I'm just curious what that all looks like for everybody. I know it's different for everybody, but for me, I just can't stop buying plants. And I know somebody's all like, well, Richie, you might have a problem that you might need help with. I might, but at this point, it hasn't negatively impacted my life. If anything, it just keeps things a little bit interesting. At least I know that whenever I'm picking up, plants like this is a Philodendron Red Sun by Proven Winners, $19.98. Ooh, I almost dropped it. That's a plant that I would want to add because of that new leaf that unfurls. It has that bright red, and then even just the trade Scanthia. So I don't know. I'm still looking for the plant. I'm still seeing if there is a Dock Block Anthurium at this Home Depot. I'm probably going to give up soon and just go to the next location, but we're going to definitely see. I do find that this Stromanthi or this Nanthe is in water, but why are the leaves curling? If you know why, please let me know, because those are the questions I have about some of the more challenging plants to grow. Monstera Adansonia, that's one of the plants that people say is easy to grow, but I haven't been able to grow a Monstera Adansonii long term. I don't know if it's just because I don't have the pole support for it, but yes, Now, and this is a really cool Alocasia stingray. Love Alocasia stingray. Look at how it has that leaf shape. I did have an Alocasia stingray that I bought from Proven Winners. Now, these ones are for $29.98. You can see that some of the corms that this actual Alocasia has sprouted. And that's the thing about Alocasia, they are able to reproduce fairly quickly. So even when you buy or invest in a variegated Alocasia, it will reproduce corms. Now, as far as all of these Leaf Joy H2O bowls, they're only $10. I still think it's a pretty good deal at this point, just because you get a really nice bowl and you get a really nice looking plant. I have to hand it to Proven Winners again. The fact that they've really upped their game for the houseplant collection, for those that are collecting indoor tropical plants, for those that are looking for cost-effective plants, that's amazing, because again, I've been able to get some really nice philodendron, some really cool Alocasia from Proven Winners, and hopefully if I'm able to find that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners, that's going to be something I can gift to a friend that really wants that Anthurium. And I'm comfortable buying that plant, even though it is going to be a little bit pricey, because it's going to bring joy to somebody. And then it's also going to go to a home where my friend has the ideal conditions for it. High humidity, a really good routine around the quality of water, as well as a bright indirect light. And that's the thing about these plants too. Whenever you are starting to introduce anthuriums, those are just plants that I feel like is going to need a lot more care, and I think it's important for us to really put that in the comments section, for instance. So for instance, if you did click on this video because you're ready to find your Dock Block Anthurium, number one, thank you so much for engaging in my channel. I hope that you've been able to watch this video and kind of just listen to my plant insights. But then number two, if you know anything about how to take care of a Dock Block Anthurium Michelle or those types of anthuriums, please leave it in the comments, from the watering to the type of substrate you should use, to what potential pests they could get and what things you can do to prevent the pest. Now over here is a Hydra helix, or what you call the correct way to say it is the Hedera helix. And for those that are new to the channel, I used to mispronounce Hedera helix as Hydra helix when I first started doing plant YouTube, but somebody did correct me on that. But it's kind of stuck around. It's kind of a plant foldy inside joke, grow folds type thing. I don't know, but you guys always count how many times I say it, so I think I will keep up with that. But as far as this Home Depot, I've kind of scrounged around and looked at least in the indoor tropical section. One thing I will also tell you this about big box stores is sometimes you need to look outdoors in the outdoor garden section, and that's the reason why I'm going to go out here as well, because here's a little tidbit. Whenever a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's gets plants, especially Home Depot, you will notice in the back corner of the outdoor section that they may have shelves that have saran wrap of plants that haven't been like fully unpacked, that just came off the truck. I remember whenever I go like night shopping, I can see that they have gotten some of those. Some of the most healthiest, most fresh looking plants are actually outdoor, staged and ready to go to be displayed indoors. So that's just a little tidbit for me, and that's just a little tidbit I would tell anybody, especially if you're looking for that Dock Block Anthurium, that Proven Winners Dock Block Anthurium at Home Depot, is to scrounge the outdoor section first. Don't sleep on it. You never know. Sometimes you might be that lucky person to find it in a very discreet corner. And so that's the reason why I'm just kind of walking around, trying to give every little glance, trying to find that plant for you, trying to get everybody excited, trying to feed onto that whole trending rage of Dock Block Anthurium. So for those that have made it this far into the video, again, thank you so much for watching. And also, please make sure you don't forget to hit the like button for this video. It definitely helps me out. I definitely want to promote Proven Winners Leaf Joy series. I mean, you can see here, these are for $5.98. And whenever you're hitting the like button for a YouTube video, it helps push it out to more plant lovers like yourself. And as always, I just love having more viewers. That way our community grows and it becomes a little bit more interactive. that's very important for me. And even though I have not shown you my houseplant collection, I promise you it is coming. The same reason why I may actually do a face reveal that might actually be on the plant podcast called Cultivation Corner. So stay tuned for that. But as you can see, I'm just literally walking around today. It's a little bit of a different type of video. It's literally me kind of just telling you my thoughts about these plants, and maybe less on the plant care tips, although I will sprinkle one here and there. This is actually a beautiful Monstera deliciosa. This one is for $29.98 by Leaf Joy, Proven Winner Series, the H2O bowl. Really love that. And the reason why I love it is not only the beautiful green foliage of a Monstera deliciosa, but the fact that it has nice roots. Just looking at the roots, it's just so nice and vibrant and white, and it's gorgeous. And that's the thing about Monstera deliciosa. People have forgotten that it is one of the plants that used to be an it plant. Everybody wanted a Monstera deliciosa a couple years back, but with the rise of variegated Monsteras, it has become more of a underrated, overlooked plant. And the thing about it is, you pay, or I pay as well, a pretty penny for a plant that is variegated, whether it has like a white streak and all of a sudden it goes from like $5 to like $80, just like that instant thing. So, and if you want to elevate a plant's price, definitely look for like a streak, definitely look for some type of variegation, maybe some sport green on green going on, or better yet, if it's pink variegated and it's not an aglaonema, because aglaonemas, there's a bunch of pink ones, but for some reason nobody wants to really grow aglaonemas. That is how you raise a plant price. And I know I've been kind of joking around. I know I've been putting a little bit of satire, but it's just very interesting how our, the plant community, the plant world, the plant, I don't even know how to even kind of mention it, but just the trends that we have really changed. Like for instance, this one right here, look at this aloe vera, for instance. So we have a bunch of these plants that we find at big box stores like succulents and cactus. I will say succulents and cactus don't have nearly as big of a following as compared to maybe, those philodendron, or more so the it plant of the week, the anthurium, the dock block anthurium Michelle. I mean, literally, I've been on Instagram and I've been seeing a lot of plant influencers, people who have found the plant. You're seeing, tens of thousands of likes on a specific post. And my thing about it is this, it is a beautiful plant, but I do feel like you could find a dock block anthurium if you really wanted to buy it from like a local nursery. But the fact that it's in a big box store makes it even more exciting because it is open to the general public. Now, again, you can see we have a bunch of these crotons. These crotons, where are they going to go after, December? I just hope that people would even look at a croton plant and maybe want to grow it. The only thing about it is, if you're going to grow a croton plant, you want to make sure that you provide it with quite a bit of light. And that's the thing. I want to buy crotons because they are 50% off at most big box stores. But I already know with the winter that we're going to have or have had in North Dallas, it's just not a sustainable practice for me to try to overwinterize a lot of plants. I did also want to highlight plants that I'm interested in. Like I love Encore azalea. So in addition to the search for that anthurium dock block or dock block anthurium, I also wanted to highlight some of the pretty plants that we kind of passed by. Azaleas are really nice. And what I like about the Encore azalea is it is an azalea that can rebloom 3 times a year. If you are going to grow azalea, it's an acid loving plant. So, certain plants need more acidic soil, and the reason why you want a plant to have more acidic soil, if it needs it, is it's able to take the nutrients from the soil, from up its roots a little bit more efficiently. So that's what I've learned as far as why certain plants that are more acid loving need that. It just makes them be more efficient in actually processing the nutrients that they need to grow and survive. But you can see right here, I have kind of walked around back and forth. So we're going to go leave and go back to the next Home Depot. And this is the Home Depot again that I visited the other day to go see if they actually had the dock block anthurium Michelle. As always, this is a big box or plant shopping video. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. But a little birdie kind of gave me some insights that today this evening, I am supposed to go over here because this anthurium has made it into the actual Home Depot. So it has actually touched down, made it to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I'm ending the day on my 4th attempt to find the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners by going to this Home Depot again. So we're going to see, and I am going to search other areas again to see if this actual Home Depot has it. I was sent an Instagram photo by a friend of mine who happened to get the Dock Block Anthurium here. So yes, it should be here, but you never know. Sometimes, it could be sold out. Sometimes it could be a hawk. Sometimes, it might just be the hype to get people out. But it is late at night and there's not a lot of people shopping here. So that's a really good plus, because then I can, film. I just feel like if it gets to the point where these anthuriums do make it into a big box store like Home Depot, I may not be able to get there in time. It is a very busy week for me. Things have just been really crazy with work in general and just my life, but being able to balance this to actually go on a plant hunting adventure, it has been a fun journey. As you can see right here, right off the bat, Proven Winners has these H2O leaf joy bowls. These are again on sale for $10, and that's a really good one. I like that Philodendron Macaulay's Finale. That's another philodendron that's easy to care for. And then we have an Epipremnum aureum, or our marble queen pothos right here, although I think they call it the snowy morning. At least that's what Proven Winners calls it. The one thing I will also say about Proven Winners is they do elevate the plant styling, and I love that how they have different collections of plants. This one right here is a Syngonium milk confetti. This one is only for $5.98, and I remember that plant being really expensive about 3 to 4 years ago, and now since Proven Winners has made it more readily available at a big box store like Home Depot, you're not having to spend nearly as much money about the plants. And I think when it comes down to some of these more trending plants, the plus size about introducing these plants to a big box store is the plant pricing starts to reduce. It becomes more readily available for the general public. And that's the thing about plants. I say this in a lot of my videos, actually pretty much all my videos, is I don't think plants should be just for those that are diehard hardcore plant lovers that have maybe more of a plant budget to spend on these plants. I think we should all be able to get these plants just because we love to grow plants. So as you can see right here, it is the same Home Depot I went into early morning, but now it is evening time, and you can see that it is the holiday season. I do love that Home Depot has some really good setups with a lot of their Christmas items, and I am curious for those that are watching my video, plant foldies, what kind of Christmas gifts do you like to receive? What kind of gifts do you give to friends and family? Please leave that in the comments, because again, I love that engagement in the comments section. I know a lot of chatter happens during the live premieres, but if you can think about me as well and just keeping that conversation going beyond the live chat, that's exciting. So I'm going to just keep pulling out some of these plants because I want to influence anybody that is clicked on this video for the first time, because we're looking for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners to at least take a second glance at these gorgeous, easy to care for houseplants like pothos plants. And then we also have these Norfolk pine. It is another seasonal plant. It is marketed as a living Christmas tree. This one is for $12.98 by Costa Farms. My opinion about these Norfolk pine is the same thing with any of these seasonal plants. They kind of only last within somebody's home for about 3 to 4 weeks during the holiday season. And so a lot of these plants, unfortunately, at least from what I've seen in the past, end up just going to plant heaven. And that's a sad reality about the consumption of plants. I think house plants or growing plants in general has really taken a huge interest. But when there is a huge interest for a plant hobby like this, the consumer needs more plants. So as more nurseries feel the need to overproduce plants, sometimes we don't end up buying all of these plants. Like for instance, look at these Spathiphyllum or peace lilies, another easy to care for plant, very low light tolerant. So that is a plant I would recommend for a beginner, and you can get some really good sizes at Home Home Depot. But this is another situation where I've already gone to this Home Depot, but I am determined to go plant hunting. So I'm going to look at all of the crevices of this indoor garden section of Home Depot. And the thing about it is, not all big box stores are created equal. Not all staff is created equal in terms of how much care they actually put into the plants. Although I have my select few of go-to Home Depots, and this is one of them because I have literally found some great proven winners on plants from this Home Depot. They do a really good job about taking care of their plants. Their selection is great. They style their plants and merchandise them, with really good organization. I mean, you can see here, Monstera deliciosa, full table of these plants, and you can see right over here, we've got even more Norfolk pine. We're just gonna walk around here and take a look. I'm gonna check every corner to see if they are hidden. I mean, I can say that I found some anthuriums, but this isn't necessarily the anthuriums that we're all looking for, at least the ones that are watching this video, I'm pretty sure. $19.98. These are the blooming anthuriums. So this is one of the most common anthuriums. But hey, when you look at the leaf structure, it is kind of similar to a dock block anthurium, Michelle. I'm just kidding. That's really blasphemous because it's really far from it. But what I will say about this plant is it is another easy to care for plant, another plant that is highly overlooked. But if you're looking for an anthurium and you can't find the dock block anthurium, let's just get a blooming anthurium. You're going to spend less, and you're going to get a plant that's going to be a little bit easier to grow in most of our current growing environments. But you can see it is late at night. That is the one thing I love about doing plant shopping videos late at night is I don't necessarily feel pressure to dodge people because there's not a lot of people walking around. It's really important for me as I do this plant content to really respect people's privacy, even though they are in a public setting. There's already a lot going on with social media. Somebody could end up on a video and then it's become some type of viral trending thing, but not everybody is always asked to be in a video. So hopefully you guys recognize that at least whenever I do big box or plant shopping videos, there's really never anybody in the background for it, unless it is a plant show where I can't really, I have to kind of try to avoid people in the background. But yes, I did want to go point out these Vigoro hanging baskets again, and then this Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. If you're going to ask me a plant that I can have multiples of, it would be a neon pothos or any pothos plant. $19.98 by Vigoro Plants. I feel like if you can find a Costa Farms hanging basket for $20.98, you can always settle for, the Vigoro hanging basket. You will always find certain hanging baskets like the neon pothos, golden pothos, marble queen pothos, Monstera adansonii, philodendron heteroraceum, Brazil, sometimes it's Syngonium and Hoya carnosas. Those are the Vigoro hanging baskets that you will find at Home Depot. And then I did want to take this down right here and show you this gorgeous ZZ plant. And I do like the fact that this is a really nice and easy to care for plant. That's the thing. So as I am looking for that dock block anthurium, Michelle by Proven Winners, I have to say that multiple times just because that is really the theme of this video. It is one of those situations where hopefully as you do your plant hunting this week, especially for those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, slow down and look at the plants that you might have just passed by because we're running to Home Depot. We're searching back and forth. We're really frantic about finding that plant, but you're already looking at the plants that you should be adding to your collection, like that hanging basket of neon pothos. It's swinging around. It's waiting for me to go ahead and buy it. Unfortunately, I've already blown so much of my plant budget for this month. And, that's another thing I am going to go put out there for those that are looking for ways to save money on plants. Number one, if you are going to go buy plants at a big box store or a local nursery, have an idea of what plant you want to buy. So for instance, if I wanted to go to Home Depot today and buy an Aglaonema, I would know specifically that's what I'm looking for. Number two, set a base for your plant budget. That's one way to save money, because then if you stay within the parameters of what you're going to spend for your plant that day, then you're not going to go over budget. And then number three, find alternatives to prevent you from even really going out and buying plants. So one way to do it is you can trade plant cuttings with a friend. You can trade plants in general with somebody. So like for those that are looking for, like, say, the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners, maybe you might find a cheaper alternative by finding more of a seedling type thing. You can always look for that alternative if for some reason you can't find that plant. And I think those are some ways to save money, or at least control our consumption of these plants, because I've even seen people really get into debt because they can't help but buy plants multiple times every single day. I caught myself doing that this past week, but I'm definitely going to reel it in after I find the Anthurium Michelle Dock Block, and I really do feel like it is going to be here. So don't give up on me. I'm telling you, you've got to wait till the very end, or at least watch this video, because you will see it in the flesh. I have a feeling, because my friend did send me a photo that he was able to find one. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find one just yet, but I am taking this time to show you how gorgeous this Aglaonema Silver Bay is for $29.98. And I have to chuckle because I feel like if you are more of a rare niche person, maybe somebody that has seen this video for the very first time because you're looking for an anthurium, maybe I'm able to influence you a little bit just to see how gorgeous this Aglaonema Nicole is. For instance, look at that nice dark green border around the leaf and the silver foliage. Again, that is an easy to care for plant. $29.98. And the thing about Aglaonema is you really don't want to water the plant until the soil is completely dry. That is the fastest way to kill the plant. It doesn't do well with being overwatered. In many sense, Aglaonemas kind of behave like succulents in a sense that they really have a lot of tolerance for drought. And that for me, I am an underwaterer, so I tend to not water my plants nearly as much. The only time I really water my plants, and I know it sounds very embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you it anyway, is when I start to see leaves starting to droop. That's when I'm like, okay, it's starting to call 911. It's a little bit of an emergency. It's telling me I need to go feed it water. And that's when I really just buckle down and water it. But if you're going to ask me my routines around, plant care and watering my plants, I would probably rate myself a D for a grade because I'm just really terrible at it. Now, a plant that is very forgiving when it comes to just being underwatered or going through drought is a Hoya. And this Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess for $19.98. Another easy to care for plant. And the thing about it is Hoyas, there is a certain allure about it, but I don't think that people are just running out to collect Hoyas. I think Hoyas, whenever you start a Hoya collection, it's because you might end up getting a Hoya carnosa, and then you start getting yourself like a Hoya pubiplaix, or however you pronounce it, and you just steadily add it. Maybe you might even want to add like a Hoya carrii, something of that nature, and then the floodgates just open, and then all of a sudden you are what you call a Hoya head. Sansevieria, trifasciata or snake plant, those are easy to care for plants, and that's another plant that is highly underrated and overlooked. And then even this philodendron over here, split leaf philodendron, or I think they call this a tomathophyllum. It is another beautiful plant, but that's not something that people are running to, as well as this whole table here. But can we say, after revisiting this Home Depot, that they really do maintain organization of the plants? I do commend that. And whenever you go to a big box store, pay attention to the organization of the plants. That will really tell you whether it is a viable place to buy plants, because number one, if the plants are organized well, then there is a little bit more upkeep and care by the big box store. And if there is a little bit more upkeep to the plants at a big box store, that means there is a higher potential that the plant is going to stay healthy and is going to be less prone to actually attracting plant pests. And that's the biggest concern I have whenever I buy plants at a big box store, is really the potential of bringing bringing a pest home, you really want to make sure that when you do buy a plant, like say if we find that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners, if you get it, you have to assume that there might be some potential pests, and it's not because of Proven Winners, it's because of the transit it's already taken, and maybe the plant in general. Whenever you're taking plants from the nursery, the grower nursery, to a big box store, there is going to be a level of stress on the plant. And whenever the plant is stressed, it does release pheromones to potential plant pests. That gives them that pheromone to say, hey, I'm in a vulnerable state, attack me. That's basically what happens. Now over here again, you can see that these are the smaller varieties of the Aglaonema Silver Bay, and you can see how large they can get. This one is for $14.98, and you can already tell I am really, taking this time just to show you all of the plants that may be overlooked and underrated. I want to make sure that I'm covering my bases, that I'm trying to plant influence y'all on some of the plants that we just walk by because we're running to find that table that has that Anthurium Dock Block, that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle. I am confident that it's going to be here. I mean, my friend did send me a photo of his that he found, so it's just a matter of time until I find it in one of these tables. So I'm just going to keep picking up plants. Let me know in the comments what you think about, the Dock Block Anthurium, why you want it, where you might have found it, and what your care tips are, because I really want to make sure that if somebody does find more of these Anthuriums in the future for big box stores, that we're kind of aligned with the plant care tips. That's really important for me. Care tips that we give each other is not set in stone. Sometimes certain people's environments, certain people's lifestyles, the amount of time we have to invest in the plants also plays a factor, but maybe having a basic guideline. And again, whenever you think about solution, right, it's always going back to the basics. And that's the reason why I feel like these quote basic plants are really your plant solution for really getting us in line to take care of some of the more challenging plants. If you ask me, the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, that is going to be a little bit more of a challenging plant. So if you're that person that is just seeing it on social media and you just want to add it to your collection, just be prepared for making sure you have the right ideal environment again, and that is higher humidity levels. Make sure that the temperature is fairly high. It's in a more warmer environment. You want to make sure that the quality of water you water that plant is more so not tap water, but even a more purified water, or at least that's what I've been told, because sometimes that hard tap water actually makes the leaves of the Anthurium crisp up. And that's the thing, we're growing these Anthuriums because they have gorgeous velvety texture leaves. And so even those little imperfections are impacted by the environment that you give it. Now, as far as environment that you give a neon pothos, it will grow regardless, and it will grow in a way where you can just take the cuttings from that plant and reproduce it and give somebody that plant, and you're able to bring even more joy to them. And you can see there is a bunch of Croton petras, and that's really the sad thing. I hate seeing, seasonal plants become seasonally not relevant after the season. Now these amaryllis, these are seasonally relevant for the Christmas holiday season. It is a very interesting plant because it's a bulb that if you just leave it alone, it'll just push out growth and a beautiful flower. But you can see right here, Vigoro plants. So I'm just gonna walk around here again and just kind of keep showing you what plants are here and what plants are overlooked as I search for the Dock Block Anthurium. I know it's here, I know it's coming, I know that it's all going to be worthwhile. I've already gone to 4 Home Depots, and I have to laugh at myself because basically I have kind of fed into the whole craze or the whole trend about trying to find that Dock Block Anthurium. It has been a fun time though. I mean, it wasn't like I'm not in a big box store anyway. I just happened to want to, I guess, add on to the allure of trying to find that. That's the whole new series for me, is just plant hunting. I think that it just makes it a little bit more fun for me to just go around and try to find that actual plant. But I'm gonna just keep showing you all of the plants I feel like are underrated and that we should also add as we go search for something like the Dock Block Anthurium. So I found some anthuriums, but it's not the Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. This is just the blooming anthurium that we find at big box stores, but I love it. I actually have the pink variety. This one is for $12.98, and it's really an easy to care for plant. It is a very prolific bloomer as well. And what I like about it is it has many different colors. I do like the dark black ones, that chocolate black color that that anthurium can produce, and they even have orange ones, purple ones, fuchsia ones, pink ones, and the one that is actually highly sought after, but it's like within the $200 range, is what you call the Anthurium shibori, which is basically a variegated like white and pink bloom of this particular plant. I know that there are always eBay auctions on eBay for it. There's a seller in Hawaii that does it, but for some reason I keep losing the eBay auctions, because I will like bet, say like, you know, bid like $80, and then all of a sudden 5 seconds before the eBay auction ends, somebody drops like 200, and I'm like, well, I can't really compete with that. But I guess I will settle for something like this, because this is still a gorgeous plant, and you can see, look at how pretty that is. But this is another plant that a lot of people will overlook. I think it's a pretty plant. I think it's a very easy to care for plant. It is a plant that can last in your collection for years. I actually met somebody who has been growing a blooming anthurium for at least 15 years, the same one. It is massive and it is gorgeous. So I think that that's really interesting. And, you know, as far as anthuriums, a lot of people kind of like sleep on this one. They don't really even think of that as an anthurium, but it is, but it's just not the type of anthurium that might be necessarily trending or really be sought after. And then obviously succulents and cactus. Not a lot of people really talk about succulents and cactus, but if you have the right conditions to be able to grow them, I think that they're still a niche plant. The one thing I will say about succulents and cactus, basic care tip is do not overwater them. And if you're gonna water them, try not to get their foliage wet. Anyways, I'm just gonna keep walking around here. I'm really trying to find it, because for some reason my friend was able to find that anthurium, but all I can see are all of the pretty plants that I would still buy anyway, like this Aglaonema red Siam. You already know, if you have been watching my videos for the past year, I love Aglaonemas. Red Siam is amazing. You need to add a red Siam, maybe even choose a red Siam over the Doc Block Anthurium Michelle, is as a consolation. Like if you can't find it and you've already been looking at Home Depot, can we all just buy a pothos plant, an Aglaonema, maybe even a Hoya carnosa like this, and we can call it a day and just kind of like scroll Instagram or find somebody's TikTok and just kind of admire the anthurium. But no, just jokes aside, if you are looking for the anthurium Doc Block, the Doc Block Anthurium at Home Depot, it is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're watching this video, it is definitely already in the Dallas market. What I would suggest is definitely looking at different Home Depots, but also searching for the least expected places to find it. Sometimes these big box stores don't necessarily have these new plants right front and center. So I'm gonna go keep looking into this indoor greenhouse, but I might actually look near the cash registers again, or maybe even outdoor in the outdoor section. I know some people complain about me doing, you know, outdoor plants as well as part of my videos, but you know what? Sometimes that outdoor section is where you're gonna find that plant. But I'm just gonna keep walking around. Let me know in the comments again what you think about, you know, the Doc Block Anthurium, why you are interested in it, whether you've already found it, what your experience is, and then what you think about these proven winner plants. Like, that's the thing about proven winners, is they've actually really elevated the amount of diversity of plants that they have available, and even their plants are super healthy. Some people will, you know, debate whether their plants are more cost effective than maybe Costa Farms. I beg to differ, because I feel like they offer some plants that maybe even Costa Farms doesn't. Like, they've got a little bit more variety in their ficus plants, for instance, and they've been able to up their game when it comes to certain philodendron. Like right now, Proven Winners has the philodendron
philodendron squamiferum. They've got the philodendron Florida green. I heard that they were releasing some Monstera Thai constellation, some more Hoyas. And I mean, take a look at this. This is a Ficus elastica tamiki, gorgeous plant. It literally is one of those plants that I think is going to remain a classic. And yes, it's not necessarily a beginner plant, but then it's also not a plant that's going to be hard to grow. You just have to be mindful that this particular plant is going to need quite a bit of light. So if you're going to grow it indoors, you can either supplement it with a grow light, or you can put it near a south-facing window. Philodendron gloriosum, really love that. And you know what's interesting is I bought a Philodendron gloriosum by Proven Winners, and tell me why that last couple of leaves that have unfurled have come out variegated. So, you know, it's sport variegated. I might let it grow even more to see if it keeps its variegation. And if it does, I may chop it and propagate it to see if that variegation will stay stable. You know, that's oftentimes how you find a sport variegated plant, and how it becomes available for the market is they come out of just mutations. Dracaena steed soul, another plant that is underrated and overlooked, but it's another easy to care for plant. I just can't find the dock block anthurium, and I'm gonna I might just give up, but you know, there are some places in this Home Depot that I'm going to check, but for now, I'm just gonna keep walking around here and showing you these Proven Winner plants. You can see this is a Philodendron Sun Red for $19.98, and I love the look of this plant, specifically because of the new leaf color that unfurls. That's really the allure of this particular philodendron, and you can just see there are a bunch of Proven Winner plants. This particular one I remember seeing the other day when I came here this morning, and you can see that it's still such a beautiful plant. I hope that somebody ends up buying it, because there's just a lot of plants that are looking for really good homes. And as you go looking for that dock block anthurium, definitely, and I think that's a lot of the purpose of this video today, is I really did want to take my time as I search for this plant to just showcase what other Proven Winner plants that are available, what plants we should consider adding to our plant collections. You know, we talk about like intentional plant collecting, so maybe some people are really all about the really rare philodendrons, but for the most part, I still feel like we should appreciate and grow even the easy care plants. So I'm gonna try one more section here. So I know that sometimes when a big box store gets a shipment, that they actually stage their plants outdoors in the outdoor section in the back corners. So I did show you all these Croton Petras. These are for 50% off, and yeah, that is it. Do you see what I see? There is 2 philodendrons right here and 2 cartfuls of Proven Winner plants. So what does that mean? That means that this Home Depot definitely has the new Proven Winners plants. This one is a philodendron fuzzy petiole. That one is for $29.98, and yes, it looks like we are going to be finding that anthurium dock block. Yes, so that's the thing. Sometimes these big box stores may not have the time yet to produce these plants. I mean, knowing the fact that Dallas recently just got these trucks in, the thing about Home Depots is they get their trucks in pretty much daily, but especially Wednesdays and Thursdays, don't quote me on this, they do get these plants in, and you can see right here, look at this. Wow, it looks like Proven Winners has even gone on the bandwagon and got some Monstera Thai constellations, and mind you, it looks like somebody already busted through the actual plastic, so maybe people have already discovered it. But you know what, I love the fact that I'm actually seeing plants from Proven Winners that I did not expect, like Monstera Thai constellation. That's really cool. And you can see there is another anthurium. It's not the dock block anthurium Michelle, but this is another anthurium Vera. I can't really pronounce it, but this is only for $15, and I'm definitely gonna buy this today since the seal's already been broken. And then you can see right over here, this is a Hoya carnosa of some sort, but you know, it's more pink, so I really like that. This is really nice, and I believe that is also for $15. So I wish I could have caught this during the day, because then you can see the plants. I don't really want to bust through all of this, but somebody has already
already opened the seal, and it looks like people have already bought the plants up. But this right here, look at that anthurium. So I would buy this anthurium because it is priced only at $15, I believe, and it is a nice shape. I really like that strap leaf shape, and it looks like Proven Winners has also some new plants. One thing I wanted to highlight is it looks like they've got some more Dieffenbachia of some sort right here. I think that's a Dieffenbachia Camille, and then I did think I saw a Dieffenbachia Reflector. And then right over here, we've got a Ficus Audrey, a Ficus Elastica Burgundy, or not Burgundy, but Ruby, but this is a Ficus Elastica, or Ficus Aubrey, sorry. Aubrey's a different version. It's not an actual rubber tree, but you can see that Proven Winners, again, $29.98 for that. They've also got some more Alocasias, and they've also got some more Hoyas here. So I've already gotten this Hoya, $5.98, the Freckled Splash Hoya. Really like the look of that. And again, $5.98 for these plants. It's a really good deal. And as far as those who have made it this far into the video, well, there you go. Now you know that the Home Depot off of Plano off of Parker Road has these dock block anthuriums, as well as a new Proven Winner plants. Their new releases. Really exciting because it is just right for the holidays. So if you want to go ahead and gift it to somebody or find some plants to add, definitely do that. It's really exciting. And you know, my only concern is, I mean, they are outdoors, so I'm hoping that these plants won't freeze. The temperatures are cool, but not freezing. But hopefully the Home Depot that has these plants will go ahead and get this into the indoor greenhouse. I mean, these are absolutely stunning. Thanks again to Proven Winners for having these plants. And the fact that I didn't even hear that Proven Winners would have Monstera Thai constellations. I don't know how much the price is for that, but I know I've done Monstera Thai constellation free giveaways on my Instagram. So again, if you like those types of giveaways, please make sure you follow me on Instagram at Growfolds. But as you can see here, they've also released, and I definitely can't buy this plant again. This is a Calathea ornata. Oh, it looks like they're kind of stuck here. See, I don't really want to mess with all of these plants because they were kind of still sealed, but you can see that people have already opened this up. That's the thing, the craze is, you know, like as far as going around looking for these plants, I mean, these plants haven't even made it onto the shelf and people have already bought up the plants, or at least try to ravage through it. But as you can see right here, I did find it. It's right there, that anthurium, that dock block anthurium Michelle. I'm definitely gonna buy it. I hope my friend that I'm gonna give this to is gonna be super happy. Well, there you go, plant foldies. As you can see, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially the Dallas market, has these anthuriums. The dock block anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners is already in the market. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. As always, you know that I will keep doing some more videos, and maybe I can find some more dock block anthuriums. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And as always, please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. This is Richie at Growfolds. I'll see you tomorrow.